From Thomas Dupuis Stadium, Frank Monica Field on the campus of St. Charles Catholic High School in LaPlace, Crescent City Sports is proud to bring you high school football. Tonight, it is an interstate matchup. Don't get many of those. The Legacy School of Sports Sciences makes the trip from Spring, Texas to take on the St. Charles Catholic Comets. Hi again, everybody. Lenny Van Gilder along with Wade Kaiser. Dan Kane is our producer this evening, and looking forward to this one, aren't we? This is going to be a lot of fun. If it's as fun as what we saw the last time we had an interstate matchup back in week 2 with Carr and American Heritage, this is really going to be good. And just like what happened 5 weeks ago, or at least we thought was going to happen, we've got a quarterback that is being talked about quite a bit coming in from out of state, and that is Keyshawn Henderson, the senior, 6'4", 190 pounds, who is, depends on what recruiting service you want to talk to. He's the number 2 ranked overall prospect from 247 Sports. He's the number 1 ranked dual threat quarterback from ESPN. He's a University of Houston commit. And so he's not leaving the greater Houston area. He's going to stay right there to play his college football. And all the reports we've gotten, Wade, this guy can really throw the football. Well,
I was down there before the game talking to his coach and just kind of sizing up this Legacy Titan football team. And look, they've got nice-looking kids all over the place. And again, we call all the games in the metro area around here, so we're familiar with their programs and familiar with their kids and their coaches. And obviously out of Houston, Legacy, we don't know much about them. So I was down there earlier talking to the coach, trying to get a feel for the school and looking at their players warm up and all of that. And Keyshawn Henderson, it says 6'4". He's every bit 6'5 and a half, right? It says 190. He's every bit 210, 215, and he still looks skinny. And can he spin the ball? Absolutely. You can hear it coming off his fingers, and it sounds like a 99, 100-mile-per-hour fastball that you would see from one of the Dodger pitchers right now, right? I mean, this cat has an arm, and it's going to be fun to watch him tonight with a set of great receivers.
Yes, he does. One of those guys, Michael Brown, is a Texas A&M commit. He'll get the ball a lot. He can spread it around as the Comets are taking the field. St. Charles comes in at 5-1. They've got 1 loss on the year, and it is on a last-second touchdown pass by St. James 2 weeks ago over in Vacherie. Then they went down and took care of a pretty good Terrebonne team on the road last week. One thing about Wayne Stein, he's going to play a difficult schedule. Look, his district is tough too. It's only 4 teams, so he hasn't even started district play yet. He won't start it until next week. But he's going to test his team and get them ready for when it matters in the postseason.
Well, having the decision to play up a division last year, and Wayne talked to us about this. He knew it was going to be something to get his kids ready to play at that next level from the level that they had been playing in prior. They kind of took their lumps last year in Division 2. They will be ready this year, so thus playing up with the schedule that they had was all a part of the the science project of getting them ready for the playoffs. And we know getting a seat on that bracket is important with the wild card points you get, and playing up and playing these hard teams get you those wild card points.
Well, we mentioned that this Legacy team travels around quite a bit, plays a number of people. One of the things that they did was back on 4 weeks ago, they made a trip into New Orleans and they played St. Augustine.
Right.
And we had a chance earlier this week to visit with Robert Valdez, the head coach of St. Aug, to get kind of a scouting report on this team and what we can expect here tonight.
Real players, the quarterback is the real deal, man. He can run, he can throw, he checks out of stuff, and he has 3 real good receivers. They're very explosive. We played them. We just felt like we had to keep scoring just so because we felt that it was hard to stop them. And I think that in a team like that, they travel and they do a good job of opponents and whatnot, and getting their kids out and exposure and whatnot. So wouldn't want to play them again. I think that, St. Charles is a very well-coached team. Those guys play hard. Those guys, and they battle-tested the last couple of weeks. They played some, really, really good opponents, and it should be good. And I think that sometimes when you play those type of games, you just want to see, how your team fares against that type of ball. And so it should be a good football game. But at the end of the day, you got to contain the quarterback. You got to play deep.
And now we pause, get ready for the invocation, followed by the Star-Spangled Banner here from LaPlace.
Brianna is the daughter of Melissa and Jeffrey Burns.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us together tonight to enjoy this game. Thank you for the talents and dedications of these athletes, coaches, and all who make this night possible. We ask your protection over every player on the field and that you keep them safe and free from harm. Guide them to compete with strength, courage, and perseverance, and help them to work together as a team. May this game be played with respect, fairness, and good sportsmanship. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
We ask now that you join us in a moment of silence to honor the memory of Coach John Talley. Thank you. Please remain standing and direct your attention to the north end zone and join us as we honor our country and our veterans with the singing of our national anthem. Tonight, leading us is freshman Ava Cordero. Ava is a member of the music ministry, the girls soccer program, the Stage Hands Drama Club, and she is the 9th grade class president.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we'd watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the rocks bursting in, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Our national anthem from LaPlace. As we get set for kickoff here tonight between St. Charles Catholic and the Legacy School. And
Captains for tonight's ball
we'll get
game.
the coin flip coming up.
First for
When
the
you
Titans
were
of
alluding
Legacy,
to
number
the
1.
Legacy coach is Michael
Keyshawn
Bishop. His
Henderson.
name may ring a bell.
Number 5, Eli
Well,
Shelley.
great quarterback
Number
at
8,
Kansas
Timothy
State.
Timmerman.
And
And number 12, J.D.
actually,
Brumfield.
I think he was a junior
And for the
college
Comets,
All-American.
number 18,
junior
Walker
college
Wall.
where he played
Number
for
27,
Willie
Tyler
Fritz.
Miliotto.
And of course,
Number 43,
we mentioned
David
that
Kugler.
Henderson is
And
a
number
used to commit where he
56,
will
Charles
play
Taylor.
for Willie Fritz. And he's been committed since May of last year. So before his junior year even started, that was one of the first big scores that Coach Fritz made after leaving Tulane and arriving at Houston.
Well, and that's, you connect the dots, right?
Sure.
Blinn Junior College to Willie Fritz, and that's kind of how this quarterback, Mr. Henderson, is going to end up there, right?
Legacy wins
He
the
also
toss and
played
he likes to
for a
receive.
young man that I
The Comets will
coached
kick
who's
it
now
within the north
spent a
end
long
zone.
time in college coaching a guy named Mike Smith. So that's the other connection that I have to the coach, Michael Bishop from Legacy.
I feel the master. I feel the
We welcome our viewers on the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network to applause for an intriguing interstate matchup between the Legacy School from Spring, Texas and St. Charles Catholic. I'm Lenny Van Gilder along with Wayne Kaiser and our Crescent City Sports production team. We're looking forward to what should be a good one here this evening. Hopefully as entertaining as when these two teams met a year ago here in La Paz. It was 34-28 in overtime, and you hope for something. You hope for something similar once again in terms of that kind of game. But these are two teams that really want to do different things when they have the ball. Legacy wants to sling it all over the place, and meanwhile, St. Charles Catholic, they want to run the football. They're a team that averages about 10 passes a game.
Right.
But we're going to get a look at this Legacy offense led by Keyshawn Henderson, the 6'4", 190-pound senior, who is the #1 dual-threat quarterback in America, according to ESPN, the #2 ranked overall player from 24/7 Sports.
Well, you're going to see a lot of speed.
They won the toss and elected to receive. Something, like in this day and age, you don't see a lot of anymore. So,
well, you're going to see a ton of speed, and, that's going to be paramount from St. Charles, understanding what they're playing with speed-wise as compared to what the guys in the white jersey are playing with speed-wise, right? And, knowing Wayne Stein, he'll have his guys in the right spot, but that doesn't necessarily, that accounts for can you tackle them in space with speed, right? Speed is the killer.
So underway from Laplace, the kickoff will go back to the 3-yard line and trying to get to the far sideline and out past the 35-yard line, still on his feet. He cut it back inside. That was Damaris Richardson, the 5'8", 160-pound junior. They call him Dada.
Yeah, Dada can go, right? You saw a good
return there.
Right, a good return there, but he made about 4 guys miss on the way to where the ball is sitting at the 35-yard line. So it's going to be interesting to see how St. Charles is going to defend this. Are they going to rush 3, drop 8? Are they going to rush 4? What are they going to do? They're going to mix it up. They're going to play zone. Are they going to play man? It's going to be interesting to see what they do in the secondary. They're starting out with a 2-high coverage right now.
So Henderson will operate out of the shotgun. It's an empty backfield, and he's going to try to run it on first down and get, about 6 yards.
Well, that's what he brings to the table, too. So if you're going to give him a light box with 5 in the box, he's going to be their primary workhorse even as a runner.
Henderson on the year has rushed for 371 yards. He has thrown for 2,352 yards. That is in 6 games. Pass caught right near the sticks. That was Richardson on the catch. He's going to be marked short of the first down. Gain of 3, and it'll be 3rd down and 1 from the 44. So they'll kind of muddle huddle. It's not it's not breakneck pace.
Everything's going to be relayed in from the sideline. He's going to get his guys lined up where he wants them. You're going to see a lot of 1 back or 10 personnel.
3 wide receivers to the top of your screen. They'll give it away on 3rd and 1. Nice move in the backfield to turn a negative into a positive, and Julian Shepard gets the first down.
Well, just when you think you got him in the closet, boom. He does a little spin move on you, and he gets out of it. He can make you miss, right?
That could have been a loss of 3 or 4. Instead, it's a gain of 2. And it's 1st and 10 at the 46-yard line. Just underway from Laplace.
1st and 10 Titans from their own 46.
5 receivers out in the route this time. Pass is caught. That is the tight end on the catch, Timmy Timmerman. That's a big target. 6'5", 225 pounds, a senior. That's his 21st catch of the season.
Well, he's not your traditional hand in the dirt. For our viewers out there thinking, well, he's going to line up, put his hand in the dirt, and be a traditional tight end. No, they're going to line this 6'5" young man up out in space, and you're going to have to tackle him when he catches the football.
Yeah, not the inline type of guy that you're used to seeing. It's more the Jimmy Graham type that fans here in New Orleans can associate with, right?
And that creates coverage problems for the kind of shorter St. Charles defenders.
Quick pass caught. Timmerman once again, first down for Legacy. The ball at the 40-yard line.
Y option, right? He's just releasing up the field to the sticks, looks at the inside linebacker, and if the inside linebacker stays inside, he's just going to turn out and give his numbers to Henderson, the quarterback, who rifles it right through his chest, and
now let's
they
watch,
move the chains.
Oh, let's watch this, hobbling off on the far side. That is the center, Ryan Garcia. So anytime you got to bring a new center into the game, that can certainly change things. You got to watch that right there. While we have a moment, while the injured player is being dealt with, a chance to remind you that tonight's coverage on Crescent City Sports brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kenner. Lamarck Pre-Owned has a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles, all makes and models. We have great deals. Must be a reason. Our family is a Lamarck Pre-Owned family.
As there are a lot of families in the New Orleans area.
No question. Spotted at the 40-yard line. They'll give this one away on first down, and a little bit of room on the right side for Shepard, but a flag comes in behind the play in the area of what should be holding, and it is.
This is a good time to kind of set the stage for the viewers out there. We got to understand that there is only one state in the United States in high school that plays NCAA rules or college rules, and that would be Texas. So there's going to be a little bit of difference here tonight between federation rules as we play in Louisiana, and it's played all through Louisiana and the other lower 48 states, right? And NCAA rules, which is what Legacy is used to.
Right, that's what high school football in Texas operates from. They do not, and obviously there's a lot of differences in the rules. Another flag before this one can get underway, and it's going to be a false start, and Titans will back up further behind the chains here.
Well, I have a feeling with Mr. Henderson's arm, he doesn't really mind being first in an Uber ride, right? I mean, he can throw that on a dime.
First and 25, Titans.
He can throw a 25-yard out route. I was watching him warm up, and as I was saying, that thing was sizzling in the air. You could hear it spinning.
So first and 25. Pass low. They'll call it incomplete. It was in the direction of Richardson, but it short hopped him, and it's going to be second and 25. First incompletion of the night for Keyshawn Henderson.
Have not seen St. Charles put pressure yet, Lenny. That can be also another package that I'm sure that the Comets would decide to bring if they had to see how he reacts under pressure. The main thing they're going to have to do when they do that, however, is they're going to have to contain him because, as we said, he can make things happen with his legs.
On second and 25, Henderson looking, pass is caught, and the ball came out, but it popped out and went quickly in the hands of Braden McNeil. I believe that was, or check that, it was Richardson with the recovery. McNeil had the catch, and it's going to go as a gain of 6 on the play, and so it's going to be third down and 19.
Well, that's manageable for them. I mean, they've completed this. I was looking at some film of them this week, and they've completed this on numerous occasions, especially with the cushion that is being given to them by the St. Charles defenders.
Trips to the short side. Hold on, they're blowing this dead first. It was a false start. I saw movement on the left side. Third down and 24 now. So already, just in this series of downs, 3 penalties against the Titans. It's 4 minutes plus have come off the clock already here in the first quarter.
Well,
This is what's kind of what you expect St. Charles Catholic to do, to eat up some clock here. Well, when they get the football.
When they get the football, I'm sure that's going to be paramount on their minds, right? The problem here is the false starts and the behind the ball penalties, behind the line of scrimmage penalties, like holding.
So they've got to get to the 30-yard line. Pass is incomplete. Couple of defenders right there, including Brooks Monica, the leading tackler on this team, as that was intended for McNeil. It would have been short of the first down, but certainly you would think close enough to go at that point. Now the punting unit's going to have to come on.
Well, when you're going to play a zone against a team like this, you're going to have to constrict those holes, right? So that means those linebackers have got to be extra deep in their drops to create smaller gaps, smaller holes, and smaller windows that Henderson has to throw into with the coverage from the secondary on top. And that was a great job by Brooks Monica that time.
So Cade Butler, or check that, he's the kicker. The punter is Aiden McKinley, and that's going to roll inside the 15-yard line and be down at the, checking inside the 20, down at the 19-yard line. So it's going to be a 35-yard punt. And so we'll get our first look at the Comet offense after Legacy had the ball for more than 4.5 minutes, got a couple of first downs, but couldn't make anything out of it.
Well, St. Charles is going to be very well coached on special teams. Lenny, you need to watch tonight to see if that's going to be an advantage for St. Charles Catholic or not when it comes to the kicking game, right? That could be the advantage St. Charles has.
So Landry LeBlanc, the junior, 72% completions on the year, 538 yards, 5 touchdowns, can also run it. He's got Skylar Edwards as his sidecar. And Edwards will, or check that, LeBlanc will run it on first down and get out past the 25 to about the 27-yard line, a gain of 8.
It's going to be won by the St. Charles offensive line or the Legacy offensive line up front, right? Which offensive line is going to be able to control the line of scrimmage? St. Charles Catholic, it's no question mark. They're going to want to run the ball and be physical with you and hit you in the nose, right? It's going to be whether or not Legacy's offensive and defensive lines can hold up to that physical play.
Well, you look at the numbers. 6 games, LeBlanc has thrown 61 passes. That tells you pretty much what you want to know. They throw it 10 times a game. They run it an awful lot. And here's the guy who does most of that, Skylar Edwards off the right side. He should have the first down, and they will indeed move the chains. Edwards on the year, 156 carries for 697 yards. That's in 6 games, so he's averaging better than 100 yards a game, on pace for a 1,000-yard regular season. All right, he's also got 11 catches for 120 yards. But here's the impressive stat to me, Wade. St. Charles Catholic has scored 21 offensive touchdowns this year. He has 15 of them.
Yeah, I mean, he's their bell cow, right? I mean, he's the guy that is going to make it happen. Last week against Terrebonne, 163 yards, you might have mentioned, on 23 carries, right? 3 TDs. He's the guy that's going to be the workhorse.
Edwards on first down. He is bottled up in the backfield. Ball came out. And it looks like Legacy has it. He was stood up and somebody got in there and ripped the ball out. And the Titans will get the game's first turnover and take over on the plus side of the 50.
Yeah, Jameer Young was the young man that came up with the turnover. It looked like somebody ripped the ball out of Skylar Edwards' hands.
And Jameer Young, the junior defensive tackle, coming up with the recovery. And now Legacy will take over at the 31-yard line. As we are right at the 6-minute mark of the first quarter. If this was September, we'd be stopping things to hydrate. It still feels like September out there. I mean, the high got near 90 today.
Yeah, well, give it a moment, right? I mean, this is Louisiana in the fall. It could change next week.
No doubt. All right, so Henderson and the Titan offense back on the field. And we got whistles before this gets underway. I think the receivers beat the snap count that time. And remember, Wade, we had an issue. Now, the starting center is back in the game, it looks like, at this point. Garcia is back out there, but that was, was certainly a factor.
These are things you can't do, right? I mean, wide receivers should not be jumping off sides and having illegal procedure
I wonder,
at any level.
I wonder if the center had the wrong snap count, that the wide receivers all went at the same time.
That could have been. That could have been a problem, too,
Right.
but that shouldn't be happening this late into the season, right? I mean,
both of these teams playing Game 7.
These are issues that have, looks like they've been dealing with all season long. As I've looked at the little bit of film that I could see.
Henderson, pass is intercepted. Coming down the near sideline, that is Dax Prejean, cuts it inside, and he may go the distance. Touchdown, Comets. Just the 4th interception of the year for Henderson, and Prejean turns it into a pick 6.
Had 2 interceptions last week against Terrebonne to seal the game for the Comets. One late in the fourth quarter to put an exclamation mark on it, right? And Dax Prescott comes up again big. Dax Prejean comes up again big tonight. He gets the perfect drop. He's sitting as a strong safety or free safety right in the center of the field, but he was kind of sitting in that crossing area, and that's exactly where Henderson tried to place the ball. Problem was, he tried to place it right through Dax Prescott's Prejean, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Shoulder pads.
Now, Dak Prescott did play high school football in Louisiana, of course, up at Haughton.
Yeah, for some reason that popped into my mind.
There you go.
But
Prejean, after that 70-yard return for a touchdown, has to stay on the field. He's the holder.
Right.
As Tyler Miliotto knocks it through, and as we've got an injured Comet in there with 5:43 left in the first quarter. Your score is St. Charles Catholic 7 and Legacy nothing. We'll try to identify who the injured player is.
I'm sure Prejean would not mind being compared to Prescott. Right?
Oh, no.
go.
Not at all. Big play,
But no, that's huge. But he was sitting right in the center field hole where they were trying to throw about a 15-yard square in. I don't know if Henderson didn't see him. I don't know if Henderson was trying to fit it through a tight window, and Prejean did a great job jumping it. Looked like a little bit of both. But any way you look at it, Dax Prejean is the guy that puts the Comets on the board in the first quarter. That's number 77 for St. Charles. Jacques Vicnair, big offensive lineman.
Okay. Watch that. He's one of their starting offensive linemen. That, I believe, is the 5th time this year that St. Charles has gotten a return touchdown, either on defense or on special teams.
Well, those are those hidden scores, right? And those are those ones
No
that
doubt.
you always, if you can be plus in not only the turnovers, but plus in the scores from your special teams and your defense, you should have a good chance to win a football game.
It's those hidden yards. Here's a pooch kick this time. It's going to be taken at about the 23-yard line, and it's well defended by the Comets as knocked out of bounds at about the 28. That's Michael Brown. And Brown is a guy we talked about. He's a Texas A&M commit. His parents founded the school. He's going to Texas A&M just like his dad, Reggie, did. I'm sorry, not Reggie. His brother is Reggie, and Tulane fans might remember Reggie. Was a Tulane tight end the last 4 years. And got recruited by Willie Fritz.
Yeah, the power of the portal, right? Well, there you go.
All right, so from the 27-yard line, and off the right side, Shepard will get good yardage on first down. It'll be about a yard short of the first down. I said it was the 27s. Actually, he's playing the 28 out there.
Well, second and short, right?
Yeah, but
I mean,
regardless,
you can dial up anything you want
right,
here.
it's a gain of 9. Everything's available in the playbook at this point. So you see Tripp's receivers bunched to the bottom of your screen. It's a bad snap. Henderson backs up to the 20, going to try and make something out of this, and he'll get it back to the original line of scrimmage. It's going to turn into 3rd and 10.
Doing a little disguising of the coverage, talking about St. Charles. They're showing too high to start off with, and they're slowly but surely walking the safety, Dax Prejean, down into the box and lining up and catching up with everybody with a little loose man. So they're showing some man coverage, man free, with a little pressure coming from the right side from one of their outside linebackers. So a couple of different things being dialed up in this third series for St. Charles defensively to see if they can fool Henderson a little bit.
Whistles before this one can get underway, and we're going to get a timeout called by the Legacy School with 4:11 to play in the first quarter. So what have you seen thus far? We haven't seen a lot of St. Charles's offense because of the fumble on the third play from scrimmage that they had. But defensively, what is it that you think they're doing to
It looks like defensively they're coming in with what a good defensive coordinator will do. You're going to have different options at hand to be able to show the offense, right? One of them is going to be pure zone looks. One's going to be disguised walk down into man looks, which I just talked about. You're going to see disguised zone looks. I've seen that. I've seen 2 high coverages. I've seen 1 high coverages. I've seen my second blitz coming off the outside, trying to outnumber 5 offensive linemen and getting home before someone can pick it up. So I think what it's going to be is they have a whole deck of cards that they're going to be showing Mr. Henderson in this offense as the night rolls.
So with 3 to the bottom, Henderson looking downfield, pass is in and out of the hands of his big tight end Timmerman, and it's going to be 4th down.
Huge square in at about 20 yards right by Henderson, and the ball's just in and out of his hands. Ball's on target. Great look right there by Timmerman, getting hit right in the hands with it. You got to come up with that pass. I mean, that'd have been a huge first down.
So 3 possessions. It's been punt, pick 6, and now punt again. And they will let this roll. I know that always driven you crazy. That's if you come up and field that at the 45, and instead you've got it there instead of the 33, but it turns into a 39-yard punt.
Yeah, that's that hidden yardage right there. You just got to get that hand up and fair catch that thing. Sometimes it's you can get it lost in the lights or who knows, right? But you've got options to catch that ball. You don't want the.
And look,
I'm looking down at Frank Monica. Here we are at Frank Monica Field, right? I worked for him, and he would have gone nuts on that.
And by the way, we will visit with Frank at halftime. Great visit that I had earlier this week with the Hall of Fame coach, the legend. Edwards is bottled up in the backfield on 1st down. So, one of the things you look at legacy stats, and obviously they're very good offensively. They scored 40 or more in every game this year, but they've given up some points in some of these games, and you wondered, okay, what do they look like on defense? But they've, at least thus far, shown you something. They've done a nice job of trying to take away Skylar Edwards. That was no gain there. It's going to be 2nd down and 10.
Well, they do a great job pursuing to the ball, and that's what we've seen out of the guys in white so far.
Once again, you see that pursuit in the backfield. I think that was Evan Dufour that time. And he will only get back to the line of scrimmage. Maybe they'll give him a yard. It's going to be 3rd and 9.
Yeah, Evan Dufour is going to be the guy that's going to spell Skylar Edwards, right? Yeah. But that was Keyshawn Alexander, the outside linebacker. Nobody touched him. He just comes down the line of scrimmage and bangs Dufour up at about 2 yards in the backfield. You're going to have to get a body on a body if you're going to want to move the ball, running the ball against Legacy, right? These guys are too fast. They just get off of blocks and they can make up a lot of ground real quick. You're going to see nothing but man coverage right here, man free.
Okay, so you got trips at the bottom of your screen, 4 receivers. LeBlanc looking, and he's going to be dragged down in the backfield. The sack by Traynell Rivers, the nose guard, just a sophomore, 6'2", 230 pounds, and he gets home for the sack. A loss of 10, and the Comets will have to punt it away.
Now, you got to do a better job against the down 3. That was a 3-man rush that time, and they were dropping 8 into man coverage, and Rivers just gets home too quickly.
So Prejean, we saw him on the pick 6. Now we'll see him punt the football for the first time. He averages 34 per punt. Pretty good kick here, and it's going to be taken in at the 42-yard line. A fair catch by Brown, and that's right at his average, a 34-yard punt. So
Brown has not been targeted yet tonight. It's going to be interesting to see in this 4th series if they're going to try to target him. They've been really targeting Timmerman, the big tight end, and they've been targeting Richardson. We just haven't seen them target Brown yet. Brown can take the top off your coverage. Brown, you got to give him some cushion. He can still run past you. That's the speed that Michael Brown has this Texas A&M commit. So it'll be interesting to see if they try to target him in this series.
So at the 42, Titans go empty. It's a pass out in the flat to Richardson with a couple of blockers out there in front of him, and he will get it to about the, looks like they'll give him the 48-yard line, a gain of 6.
You know, that's similar to a toss sweep, right? Get it out there real fast, get a couple blockers out in front of you, a couple wide receiver blockers, and just, you know, let's beat people around in a small closet, right? Pickup of 6, second and medium.
Fast way, and now this time they go tight with everyone, and they'll run the football with Shepard off the right side, and he's into common territory and has the first down. It's like about the 42-yard line. Let's see, they'll put it down at the 40. No, they'll move it back. Well, make up your mind, pick a spot. Here we go, 40-yard line.
This big offensive line from Legacy just gets in your way, right, with the zone look, and St. Charles can't get off those big bodies. That gives Shepard a chance to kind of pick his hole, and then when he squirts through, he can go.
A little bit of tempo here. Flag came in. Oh, and they got the reception to Timmerman into the red zone, but we got a false start before that can get underway as Legacy continues to be hamstrung by those pre-snap penalties. That is the 4th false start of this game already? Yeah.
Well, you know, I know they're in Texas. It's not Canada, so you can't start early. And I know they've got that same rule in the NCAA.
Yeah.
You can't start early.
Yeah.
So I got to think Michael Bishop over there is a little perturbed.
So put it at the 45, 1st and 15. Henderson looking down the right sideline. Oh, over everyone that time. He looked for Brown that time. It looks like they might have been bracketing him a little bit there, Wade. There were 2 defenders in the area, and that might be part of the
plan,
Comet
right?
game plan here to try to take Brown away.
Well, when you play a too high coverage, what that safety to that hash does is he's sitting on top of everything to that half of the field. So you have a corner running with them underneath, banging and running with that particular number 1 receiver, and the safety coming across the top. So now you can get a man there, and that is what you call your bracket or your double coverage.
They'll give it away coming this way. And that's on the jet sweep that time is the wide receiver Richardson. So he gets the penalty yards back and then some to about the 35-yard line, and it's going to be 3rd and manageable here. They'll put it back at 36, 3rd and 6.
Yeah, Henderson is like what's that Army knife? Has a lot of things.
Swiss Army knife.
Swiss Army knife. Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, he can run routes. He can run the ball from a halfback position. He can catch punts. I bet you he can even throw it if he has to.
Yeah. He's coming in motion again. They'll fake it to him this time. Henderson looking downfield, got nowhere to go, and he is brought down by a host of Comets. Jaira Hall got in the first hit, and Brooks Monica finished him off at the line of scrimmage, and it's 4th and 6, and I think this is no man's land right here. Michael Bishop probably going for this.
Well, you're going to have to credit Preston Com for the coverage out there on Michael Brown, because Henderson was looking off the post corner. It was a double move. Yes, I did say post, corner, post, okay? And Preston Calm, the senior defensive back from St. Charles, was locked on Michael Brown that time very nicely right in the hip. Henderson looks at him, didn't have the clear throw to the end zone. He's got to eat the ball. The pressure gets to him from the Comets, and we get a sack for St. Charles.
1 quarter in the books here. It is 7-0 St. Charles Catholic with the lead off the pick 6 by Dak Prejean, 70 yards.
Well, you would have thought by the points that Legacy scores, they would have had a couple on the board by this time, right? But let's go back to some of the miscues that they've had. They've had a couple of holding penalties, and then they've had a bunch of pre-snap penalties, which have seemed to really hinder them and put them into some long down and distance situations. And then, of course, credit St. Charles Catholic for doing a good job defensively, you know, giving them different disguises. It's not just lining up the same place every time, doing a lot of different things to try to confuse Henderson.
So we start the fourth quarter with 4th and 6 at the 36. Henderson got to run. Tries to turn it up. Pass caught. First down and more. Still on his feet inside the 15 down to about the 10-yard line.
Pass complete to Richardson.
And that was Damaris Richardson on the catch and run for the gain of, let's see, about 26. Now the question is it touching the 10? Yes, it is. So it's 1st and goal.
Well, that's where Henderson can kill you, right? St. Charles brings blitz off of Henderson's right-hand side. He escapes to his left, finds a receiver down the field, and just puts it on him for a first down, and they are inside the 10-yard line.
Flag as this one gets underway and brought down in the backfield that time is Shepard, but it's a personal foul, face mask against St. Charles Catholic. Now here's one of those things that on the visiting sideline, they're used to being this an automatic first down in NCAA. It's not. Of course, it's first down, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be an automatic first down. It's still 1st and goal to go.
1st and goal
at
from
the
the 5. Correct.
First penalty of the night against St. Charles.
Yeah, there's going to be a few questions that he's going to have, and that's why the New Orleans Association has the head of the New Orleans Association officials over there explaining things if he has to him.
Yeah. We talked to Eddie Allenmore before the game. Richardson rolling, throwing, pass is caught, or check that, incomplete. In and out of the hands of his receiver, or intended receiver, Richardson.
Again, you see the ability of Henderson to escape the rush, right? Tyler Bovey is all over him.
Right.
Has him dead to his rights, has him in his targets, right? And Keyshawn Henderson just gives him a little loop-de-doo to his left, just escapes it and throws a bullet into the end zone that was incomplete.
He's got that escapability.
Right, I can see why they're drooling on this guy, right? I mean, he has all the tools, and then once you get him under the tutelage, you know, of your college quarterback coach and college offensive coordinator, you're going to turn this guy into something that could be great at the next level, and will probably be great at the next level.
No doubt. So 2nd and goal at the 5, early in the second quarter. Toss sweep, trying to get the edge and tripped up, cannot get there. Prejean makes the tackle on Shepard. It's maybe a gain of a half a yard, and it's 3rd down.
Man, he's a good football player. We're talking about Dax Prejean, right? I mean, we've seen him intercept the ball. We've seen the speed that he uses once he got it. We see his speed coming from the free safety position right there downhill into the alley to tackle Shepard. This is just a good all-around athlete, right? Not just a football player. I understand he is one heck of a baseball player, too.
So they break the huddle with only 8 on the play clock here. They're going to have to hurry up and get this one off. Trips to the bottom of your screen. Henderson, hold everything. We've got a flag for another false start. And another legacy pre-snap penalty. So now it's 3rd and goal at the 9. So that is already 5 false start penalties against Legacy, and we're going to have a timeout. Legacy will use their 2nd and a half. They have 1 remain to talk about this 3rd down situation. It gives us a chance to remind you tonight's coverage on Crescent City Sports brought to you by Ochsner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute. Don't let a sports injury keep you sidelined. Our team offers health care for athletes with same-day appointments available near you. Visit Ochsner.org/sportsmed to learn more.
Well, the first thing I'm sure Michael Bishop, the head coach of Legacy, is saying right now, hold your water. This has got to stop, right? I mean, it's going to put us in a situation that could take us out of a chance to score 7, of course. So, you know, I'm sure he's ripping some tail over there right now to get him right, and then to make sure that he's going to dial up what he needs to do on 3rd down to put the ball into the end zone here. Keep your eyes on Michael Brown, number 2.
You think that's certainly where he wants to go. Richardson would be the other option.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, that's your 2 guys, right? Now, the wild card in this whole thing is Timmerman that you can throw the ball up to.
You would think in the red zone that's certainly a direction you want to take a look at.
And I bet you he can go up and get it if you throw the ball at that back pylon to him.
Timmerman is at the top of the screen. They're going to try and run a little tunnel screen here, except breaking it off into the corner and in for the touchdown.
Trying to get you a number right there. It's kind of dark over in that corner. That
is
was
dark.
number.
I don't know if that was Richardson or I think it might have been.
I think it was number 0.
DeAndre Frazier is also a wide receiver.
I think that was DeAndre Frazier. And he comes back and he's now the holder on the PAT.
And the kick is no good.
Well, it was a bad snap. DeAndre Frazier does a great job reaching around behind him, getting it off the turf and getting it back on the tee to at least give their kicker, Cade Butler, a chance to kick the ball, but it was wide left. Again, points like that can come back and haunt you in a very, very tight game. I think before it's said and done here tonight, somewhere special teams are going to play a huge part in this thing, and there's one example of it right there.
That 1 point, you don't know. Again, this game went overtime a year ago, so
Correct.
you never know. That was a 4-minute drive, almost a 4-minute drive, 3 minutes, 56 seconds off the clock. 9 plays, 58 yards. Yeah, a couple of big plays in there. That fourth down try. But you had the penalties, but that 26-yard play on 4th and 6, and then of course the 3rd and goal touchdown pass gets Legacy on the board here, and it's a Legacy offense that has averaged more than 52 points a year, and 52 points a game, and they've scored 40 plus in every game this year. So they know what they're doing on the offensive side, no question about that. And the leader of it all is the big guy wearing number 1.
Well, yeah, and they know how to spread it around. They know their weapons. They know what knife in the drawer cuts which way, right? So right there, that was like number 0 seeing DeAndre Frazier right there, his first time called, and it's called for a touchdown.
Got a short kick that is taken in at about the 24-yard line, and get it out past the 25 to about the 28-yard line. So
St.
they
Charles
resorted to the pooch kick that time.
St. Charles has not been able to establish their run game. They want to desperately run the football. That's their MO, right? And they're just not getting the job done up front. I think their offensive line needs to come together, play a lot better in order to block these guys in white in their front 7.
Comets have only run 6 plays from scrimmage thus far, but yet they lead at 7-6. On first down, nice run between the tackles that time by Skylar Edwards, out to about the 36-yard line and a gain of 9.
Well, that's what they want to do right there. They want to run that gap play inside right there and get Skylar Edwards some sort of creases, and that's exactly what happened that time.
So 2nd down and 1. Yeah, a little bit different here where you're seeing tight ends and a fullback and a quarterback under center. A little bit different mindset offensively. Edwards spins off one tackler and gets forward to move the sticks out to the 39-yard line.
Yeah, running ISO that time, wrapping the guard around, getting him up on the linebacker, leading the fullback up on the other linebacker. That's what they want to do, and they're going to do it out of a few different formations right there. They were in a 12 formation, 12 personnel that time. 1 tight end, 2 running backs, the traditional dot the I with the fullback, and now they're going to spread it.
So at the 39, tried to run a little waggle that time, and some great pressure coming off the edge. That was the big defensive end, Keyshawn Alexander, who got in there to apply the pressure, and all LeBlanc had time to do was just throw it away, and it's 2nd and 10.
Yeah, well, he's the minute LeBlanc came off of the fake, there's Alexander sitting in his face right there, trying to slow him down with that boot, right? But he's too darn athletic, right? I mean, he's all over you before you can even try to get the play into some sort of success mode.
So from the 39, Edwards looking to bounce it to the right side. Pyle's going to push forward. They're going to give him about 4 on the play, and it's going to be 3rd and 6.
Well, that's how Edwards makes his yards, right? He runs between the tackles hard. He'll duck his shoulder. He'll take hits. He'll dish out the hits. He'll run the ball like he did last week. Over 20 times a game. Last week it was 23. He's run 24. He's run 27 times a game.
Yep. Six thus far tonight. It didn't do much until this drive. And St. Charles is going to have to hurry. I don't know if they're going to get this off. They're going to call timeout.
Well, again, they're not afraid to use that timeout. They're not afraid to run that clock all the way down.
Yeah, they certainly.
It's all part of the game plan.
They want to shorten the game.
Right,
There's no question about that. With 7:49, as you see, remaining in the first half in a 7-6 Comet lead. We got to say, what kind of adjustments are going on these sidelines based on what we've seen early on? I know we get the old halftime adjustments, but they know what they're doing here and can change things on the fly a bit in terms of what they're going to do.
You're not going to get a huge difference out of what are you going to get from Legacy. They're going to give you a 3-3-5 look, and they're going to play man all over the place on you. You got to block the 3 down guys. You got to get a body, especially on number 24, Keyshawn Alexander, one of their outside linebackers. What offensively St. Charles needs to do is that offensive line needs to take over. I'm sure that was discussed on the boundary before this series, and we've seen a little bit of life in them.
You see 7 in the box right now. They'll try to get Edwards on the perimeter, and it's not going to happen that time. Eli Kelly up from his safety spot makes the tackle for a loss of 2, and it's going to be 4th down.
Look, Lenny, you're not going to get outside on these guys, right? They're going to run you down. You got to run it in between your tackles. You got to be able to run it in those creases, and you're going to have to be able to pound it.
So Kelly, who made the tackle, is back. And the punt by Prejean checks up like one of Wade's 9-irons and will be down at the 26-yard line. So it's a punt of 33 yards. So Legacy takes over at the 33 with 7:18 to play in the first half, trailing 7-6. The one thing with Henderson there that really impressed me in that drive, we really saw his mobility.
Oh, yeah.
St. Charles got some pressure through, and he just sprinted out of there, rolled to his left, and not necessarily made plays with his legs, but he extended plays to allow himself to be able to make a throw downfield.
Right, and he throws well on the run. He keeps his eyes down the field, and I'm telling you, every college coach in America knows this too.
They'll give it away on 1st down.
See, they're really not bad at that part of their game, right? Shepard is a solid running back. They've got those big guys up front. All right, all they got to do is get in your way and run a little zone scheme, and you're going to see Shepard get his yards, right? And that could be kind of the extra bit of fuel that they need to get their offense rolling from those pre-snap penalties that they've had.
You see the stack to both sides. Pass caught. 1st down. And that was Braden McNeil on the catch. Another big target at 6'2", 170 pounds. Hauls that one in. Gain of 13 on the play.
Yeah, well, with the exception of Timmerman, all the rest of their receivers look like they're cut from a mold. Right? They're all lean, they're all fast,
Brown's
they're all
6'1",
athletic.
yeah. Brown's 6'1", McNeil's 6'2". Now Richardson's the little guy at 5'8". Give it away on 1st down, and Shepard gets it to about the 47-yard line, a gain of 4.
This is where that Titan offensive line can lean on the guys in blue, right? And take the 6 minutes that's left on the clock and just kind of exert your will to say before they go in at halftime. Run the football.
So at the 47, Henderson looks to run, breaks a tackle, stays on his feet. He will get the 1st down out past midfield to the Comet 44, a gain of 9.
How many guys did he make miss, Lenny? Did you see that? 4. I counted 4. I mean, he decided to tuck that thing and run, and he was just making guys in blue dive one way and the other way. They didn't touch him.
On first down, a little toss sweep that time to Shepard, gets 3.
Great job, Kristen McLean coming up from his corner position to set the edge to turn Shepard back inside to the pursuit. That's the way you play corner, folks. Come up, especially when you're not blocked. Set that edge hard, make the running back turn, and go north and south.
So trips to the bottom. They fake the toss this time. Now we'll throw it, and it's caught. There's Brown's first catch of the night.
Just
Michael
above
Brown gets it for the gain of 15 and another first down.
Great route by Brown. He breaks the out route just above the corner, just underneath the safety coming off of the hash. And then, of course, it's a great throw. We don't have to talk about the throw. I'm talking about the route, knowing exactly where to break the route off, reading cover 2, and knowing exactly where to sit down in that zone coverage.
They'll run the jet sweep and brought down. The first guy missed him, but the second guy got home. And DeAndre Frazier is brought down for a loss on that jet sweep for a loss of 4.
DeAndre Frazier, the guy that caught the touchdown, right, has a few jets. He's another one of those Swiss Army knights. I'm sure he can throw the football, too. He can run the football. He can catch the football.
Right. He's another little guy, get him in space. 5'7", 140 pounds. Certainly has the ability to make guys miss out there. 2nd and 14. Henderson pass caught. Brown is wrapped up immediately at a gain of 4. Now it's going to be 3rd down and 10, and it's Kristen McLean on the stop.
All week long, I guarantee the St. Charles Catholic defensive staff talked about no yak, yards after the catch, right? These guys can kill you if they catch the ball and they get a chance to get their pads north and south. They can make you miss. We've seen them do that already. They're going to get their catches. You've got to make your tackle.
Clock ticks under 3.5 to play. Again, trips to the short side. Henderson's pass is caught by Brown. What a play on a back shoulder, just kind of stop route there. And Brown hauls it in, drags the foot down, and it's 1st and goal at the 3-yard line. It's a gain of 23.
That's a Division I route and a Division I catch right there.
So from the 3, once again, trips to the tight side. Henderson's going to be brought down in the backfield. Comets got home that there. Brooks Monica was the first one there and had a couple of guys help him out, including Tyler Bovia, the defensive end.
Well, they pulled the card out of the deck that says "in the house," and that's exactly what they did. Brooks Monica was part of that house. He gets home. He's the Comet leading tackler. He adds another sack to his stats. He has 1 on the season, so give him 2.
Leads this team in tackles with 66.
Tackle leader last year. Grandson of Frank Monica.
Yep. This is just a quarterback sweep here by Henderson on 2nd down. Flags fly as he is brought down at about the 3-yard line. Let's see what that's all about. Actually, looks like they'll mark it back at about the 4.
Just had another flag, I think, came in there somewhere, unless that was a towel. So we might be looking at 2 here.
It's a hold.
It's a hold.
They will back them up.
Only 1 flag.
Yeah.
Saw something fly over there at the end. So a drive that was without penalties all of a sudden gets inside the 5-yard line, and now you got a penalty that's going to take you.
First you had a sack, now you got a
10
penalty.
yards back, right?
They're going to mark this off. Or are they changing their mind here, and they're going to take the? Are they going to take the down? No, they're going to mark it off here. It looks like okay. It's going to be a spot foul. It was beyond the line of scrimmage.
So it comes back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, no, the penalty was beyond. So he's going to get the gain to the 4 and then the 10-yard penalty to the 14.
Ball in the 14 of the Comets.
So put it at the 14-yard line. 2nd and goal as the clock ticks towards 2 minutes to play here. In a low-scoring first half that is certainly not the norm for the Legacy School. Henderson looking, pass is caught for the touchdown. In the back of the end zone. That is Timmerman, the tight end, with his 4th touchdown catch of the year, and Legacy has the lead 12-7.
I was wondering when they were going to come back to him in the red zone, that huge target. But credit the Titan offensive line for giving Henderson a lot of time to stay on his spot. And I tell you, Lenny, that was one of the best thrown balls that he's thrown here tonight through a tight window to Timmerman.
And that was a bullet. Kick is blocked. Great job off the edge that time. And that was the cornerback, Kristen McLean. I believe that is his 3rd block kick of the year.
Well,
you can see his ability to get off the edge to block kicks there.
Well, that's
and now
it's
a 12-7 game.
That's one thing they bring to the table. They know how to block punts. They know how to block kicks. They line their personnel up in the right spot and make sure they get a chance to get home. So if you're a little slow with your mechanics, right, with the whole mechanism, which is what it looked like Legacy was, with their mechanical snap, hold, kick, everything was slow, you're going to get somebody home, talking about from the comments, and you're going to get a great chance to block a kick, and that's exactly what happened.
So, minute 56 to play here in the first half, and remember, Legacy won the toss, elected to receive, so Wayne Stein's got a chance to go 2 for 1 here if you can get something in the 2-minute drill, and Miliota's an outstanding kicker, so you get this thing into field goal range and perhaps find a way to get at least a field goal on the board before the half, and then you get the ball to start the 3rd quarter.
Well, they need something to happen here on special teams again. See if they can pop a kickoff return.
Yeah, let's see.
And set up nice field position, and then you can think about what you want to do with the football as far as being aggressive or conservative. What you don't want to do here is be aggressive and give the ball back to Legacy where the guy can throw the ball in the air the length of the football field.
Yeah, Legacy pooched it to about the 25 last time. Let's see what Butler does here. This is going to be taken in at about the 20. Far side, 30, 35, 40, and room to run. He could go the distance, and guess who? It is Dax Prejean again. Prejean with his 2nd touchdown of the night, and he doesn't play offense, Wade.
Well,
and just like that, the Comets have the lead. You said it, special teams, they can get it done.
Well, you know, I've always said that's the 3rd part of the game that you've got to really put your time in on, and great blocking by the kickoff return team. And then, of course, Prejean takes it the length of the field. He hit it like a bullet, right? And problem is they scored, and there's still a lot of time left on the clock.
Now you're going to give Legacy the ball back here.
Yeah. I mean,
they're missing. Legacy's only got 10 on the field. No, check that. They got 9 on the field right now. Now they got 11. And
middle return very well blocked.
Yeah, St. Charles generally runs a swinging gate. Now they'll move into formation.
Very well blocked. Middle return, body on the body. Everything opened up like a huge alley for Prejean.
Point after try by Milioto is good, and your new score with 1:44 to play in the first half. It is St. Charles Catholic 14 and the Legacy School 12. It's all about special teams right now. I mean, you got those 2 missed extra points and then a kickoff return. I mean, that accounts for basically a 9-point swing in this game as we got an injured Comet down.
Can't get a number.
Yeah, second time this has happened where we've had an injured player on the point after. Sitting up now.
Yeah, he's sitting up. Still can't get a number. You almost wonder if something is being done. It's number 70.
Yeah, that time it's Aiden Lowry senior offense. The first time it was Vicknair. This is Lowry this time.
The caboose of the Lowry family, David Lowry. Everybody might remember that name from Tulane. I had a chance here at St. Charles Catholic to work with the great David Lowry for my years here at St. Charles Catholic. What a great family and a great group of kids. This young man, this offensive lineman, Aiden, is the caboose of all the Lowry kids.
All right, so reset again here. 1:44 to play. Now Comets kicking it away to Legacy, and now we get a chance perhaps to see Henderson run the 2-minute drill.
This can be fun. Because of obviously what is he lining up with as far as his weapons? I mean, and what is he capable of throwing?
Now, Miliotto pooched the kick the second time after Legacy took the opening kickoff and nearly popped the return themselves.
I'm pooching the ball right down here to about the 30-yard line. It's exactly where I'm kicking the ball.
Massive hole in the middle of the field, too, if you try to do that at about the 30-yard line. He's actually going to kick it deep, and it goes off the receiver's hands, and it's going to go out of bounds. And this is going to be a huge break for the Comets as the Titans are going to have the football at the 5-yard line.
Well, that works too, right? I mean, if you dial it up that way and it works, then go ahead and do it. So this is the worst starting field position, I believe, for the Titans tonight.
For either team, exactly. So they've got 95 yards to go in a minute 38 to try to do something with it. Again, coming up at halftime. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere. We've got a great visit with one of the great storytellers there is, the longtime coach here at St. Charles Catholic, the Hall of Famer himself, Frank Monica. And maybe we'll get in a word or two afterwards. So they'll run it on first down. I guess as that is strung out, finally brought down at about the 8-yard line.
I believe they have one timeout left.
Shepard,
and they're not using it. Yeah.
I guess the other thing you got to think about is this. You want to get a first down and get out of the shadow of your goalpost. Pass is caught, and that will move the chains. First down, then it's Timmerman on the catch to about the 17-yard line.
Well, yeah, and you don't want to give the ball up too early because of the time left on the clock.
Sure,
so now they have a little room.
Right, you come out and throw 3 incompletions, you got a serious problem on your hands. Pass caught. Brown past the 30. Well, he drilled that into a window. There were 3 St. Charles defenders around Brown, and he just...
Yeah, Creed Merrick's had a chance on that ball, but that ball was faster than Creed Merrick's, right? I mean, I'm telling you, what a great throw.
14 on the plate at a 31. Henderson caught sideline, and stepping out of bounds is Braden McNeil, so that will give Legacy a chance to reset here at the 38-yard line, 2nd down and 3.
Well, they're getting into the area where he can take a shot, right? Because he can throw that football that distance. And
he's got guys, by the way, speaking of, did you see the throw Aaron Rodgers made last night? Yeah, he didn't. It wasn't complete, but he threw the ball 70 yards in the air on the last play of the game, and he's 41 years old.
He's still got it.
Henderson's going to put it down and run and fall forward for the first down. They'll stop it for a moment to move the sticks. Gain of 4 on the play. Once the chains are set, they'll wind the clock, and it moves. 35 seconds to play. Getting to that point where you can reach. He's going to let one fly deep. He's got a man down there. Brown makes the catch. And they're going to say incomplete. He could not come down. He couldn't complete the catch. He went up and had it, and both players paid for that one. Well, Brown he came down hard, and so did the St. Charles defender.
That's Dax Prejean. Boy, did he get off the hash and come over the top on that and make a play on that football. Nice collision at the right time when the ball just got there. That looked like a catch by Brown, right? What a pass. What a pass, right? Great job by the defender. Dax Prejean getting across the top from his cover 2 hash position to dislodge that. He paid a price, sacrificed his body, and he's down now.
Yeah, you hope he's all right, because what a game he has had this evening.
Well, I think he's tired right now.
Well, and not to mention, he's basically, 4 guys for you. He is your, he's your safety. He's your kickoff return guy. He is your holder. He is your punter.
Yep.
So, you worry about you worry about what you lose in that situation.
No doubt.
And of course, you worry about the health of the young man. But like you say, I think it's he just went up trying to make a play, and both the receiver Brown and the defender went up trying to make the play, and that's a good sign right there.
He might have came down on a knee, got the wind knocked out of him, something of that nature. But what a great defensive play. What a throw by Henderson, and what an effort by Brown, who had his hands on that ball to come down with it. Great play all around.
All right, so let's reset here quickly. 26 seconds on the clock. It's 2nd and 10 at the 42 for Legacy.
If I'm Legacy, I'm coming right back at that route, thinking I'm going to get cover 2, and I'm going to pick on that safety that's in the game for Dax Prescott right now, see if he can get off his hash and over the top.
This could be a double pass. It is. It might be a triple pass, actually. Henderson, the shot down the field, got 2 men down there, and it is caught for the touchdown. And that was Braden McNeil on the catch. So they ran a flea flicker where it was a lateral to the receiver at first, Richardson, who turned around and lateraled it back to Henderson, who threw a 65-yard bullet down the field, and McNeil hauls it in for the 58-yard touchdown.
You said the right words. The right word. Bullet. Right? That was on a rope. You got to throw it backwards once to be able to throw it backwards twice to be able to throw it forward, right? So that's exactly what happened. They're going to line up and go for 2, which is the smart play here.
And this is unusual. You're seeing Henderson under center. We haven't seen any of this. And pass is caught, but it's short of the line to gain, or the goal line, I should say. So now it's 18-14 with 14 seconds left in the half.
I think the receiver there was DeAndre Frazier that was on that quick screen out there. Yeah,
let's take another look at the touchdown, Wade.
Yeah, I mean, look at the rope, okay? So you're going to throw it backwards and then throw it backwards again on the flea flicker.
He let it fly from his 30-yard line. Back foot on the 30-yard line, brought in at the 5. So he threw that ball 65 yards basically on a line.
On a line, no air.
Obviously well schemed that all of the eye candy in the backfield got,
Right.
Got some people to step up, and you had 2 receivers behind the secondary.
Yeah, you're going to coach and coach and coach and coach and coach. You're dealing with young men out there that are looking at what they're seeing, and they bet. And so that's hard. It's hard. It's like a fish on a hook, right? I mean, it's hard to lay off that hook.
So this was a 7-6 game with 2 minutes left in the half, and we have had now 3 touchdowns scored in the last minute and 42 seconds. And let's see how Legacy chooses to play things here. Kick will go out of bounds. That's a good way not to get a return.
Well, there you go.
I tell you what here. If I'm Wayne Stein, I might make him kick it again. But he's not. He's just going to take the football at the 35-yard line. Is that right? That's where it
should be a 35-yard line.
Right.
Correct. Yeah, I like that idea of taking the ball again. I think that's what I would have had him do too, just to see if I can pop another kickoff return, or at least pop something where I can take a shot at the end zone just for the fun of it, right? I mean, that would have been my thinking.
Going to run it off the left side with the quarterback. That will get about 6 yards on what should be the final play of this first half.
That's Landry LeBlanc, the quarterback, son of Ken LeBlanc, who I had a chance to coach here when I was the head football coach here at St. Charles Catholic. His cousin is Walker LeBlanc, the wide receiver, who I coached his dad too, Lynn LeBlanc.
There's a lot of LeBlancs here.
A lot of LeBlancs.
So quick thoughts on what we saw here in the first half.
It's
exciting. A lot of what we expected.
Right, yeah, a lot of what we expected. I mean, you're seeing, St. Charles Catholic trying to do the things it's got to do in order to stay in a football game, play good defense, right? Special teams, beat them at that end of what they need to do, which they've done. And then we're seeing what we've expected coming in here as written, as advertised. Keyshawn Henderson, he's pretty darn good.
Yeah,
look, in this crew of wide receivers they got,
he's got some people to throw it to.
So it's been exciting from that standpoint.
All right, earlier this week, I had the chance to catch up with the man who helped build the St. Charles Catholic program, the Louisiana Sports Hall of Famer, Greater New Orleans Sports Hall of Famer, now, as of this year, a member of the National High School Athletic Coaches Association. Hall of Fame, Frank Monica. Well, there's no better person to talk to right outside of Frank Monica Field than the man himself, Frank Monica, who called this field home and walked. This is now 5 years you've been retired. Does time fly in retirement, or is it a little slower now?
Well, that's a little slower. You get 6 Saturdays and a Sunday every week, but you actually lose track of the days, the month or whatever, and actually lose track of your grandkids. So I mean, it's been a bittersweet type of thing. The retirement is football is different. You go 24/7 for all your life, and then all of a sudden you wake up one morning and say, "Wait a minute, I don't have to go to the office or practice today." So it's totally different, but it's really fun to not to have that pressure on Friday night.
50 years on the sidelines at all kinds of different levels. And speaking of 50, I guess, this is the 50th anniversary of 1975, the first chance you had to be part of a state championship at Lutcher as an assistant coach under Lou Sandomal. And, of course, I'll let you tell the story of what happened next and how you ended up becoming a head coach for the first time.
Well, Lou Sandomal was the head football coach. We had just won the state championships. I was offensive coordinator. There was a older guy on the staff that actually deserved to be the coach, but all of a sudden one night about 10:30 at night, 2 school board members show up at my house and they knock on the door and they said, "Coach, we came here to congratulate you." And I said, "For what?" I said, "You're a new head football coach at Lutcher High School." I said, "Guys, get out of here." I said, I don't want the job. I said, "I'm not following the state championship." I said, "You need to give it to the other guy." He said, "No, we're moving him to administration, so you got no choice. You got to take it." And ever since that time, I took it, and it's been blessing skies. I became a 26-year-old head coach, and at that time, I really wasn't prepared, but I was just kind of thrown into the water.
So 3 years later, you win your first state championship as a head coach in 1978, and then the opportunity comes to go to college with Larry Smith. What went into that decision to make the jump to the college ranks as an assistant coach?
That's a great question. Also, in 1975, we won a baseball championship, so we won 2 championships that one year. Well, what had happened is that Larry Smith, I had a guy on the staff by the name of Buddy Geis. We became very, very good friends. He recruited my school. And he came to him one day and said, "We have an offensive position open." He said, "Would you be interested?" And I said, "Of course." And Coach Smith hired me, and the reason he hired me because he loved our stretching routine prior to practice. He said, "I love that stretching routine." We had a sort of a cross formation on the field, and he thought it blew him away that it was so organized right prior to a game and our pregame activities. And so he said, "Well, let me give this guy a chance." And thank God, the first year at Tulane, we went 9-2. Went to Liberty Bowl and played Penn State. I said, "Well, this stuff is pretty easy." Then the next year we ended up going to play Arkansas with Lou Holtz, but we ended up getting beat. That was Vince Gibson's first year. But I said, this college thing is pretty good the first 2 years. And 3 out of 4 years I was there, at first we had beaten LSU, and so that was quite a task in itself.
Tulane hasn't beaten LSU since. Let's go there before we get into anything else. There's a lot of talk earlier this year. John Summerall on Ken Trahan's show mentioned that he would love to see Tulane and LSU play again. Even there's been some hints maybe coming out of LSU that maybe you try to find a way to do this again in some way, shape, or form. And it's obviously been a long time since they met on the field. I'm sure I know the answer to this, but how would you feel about seeing that happen again?
Oh, I think it's tremendous. And Coach Summerall's point, play it in the Superdome every year where you have a bigger venue. And also, I mean, LSU's already playing in-state schools. You know what I mean? So if you're going to do that, why not play Tulane? And I think it'd be, first of all, they'd be a formidable opponent now because, you know, with all the transfers and NIL stuff, no telling your team is going to be transformed every year. So I think it's a great opportunity for them to play the interest level of the old days of the wheelbarrow parades and things that happened like that, and that whole week and the activities. And I remember, Lindy, at one time we used to have actually a JV game with LSU prior to that ball game, and that was also a fantastic, I thought, idea.
It was obviously a big deal. You spent 12 years at Tulane over 2 stints, and you worked for 4 head coaches. Outside of those 3 wins over LSU, what memories really come to mind from your time there?
Well, you know, the memories we had some knockout, drag out. The memories, I guess, were the big wins against LSU were big. I remember going to Cincinnati at the first ball game of the year, and in fact, Rex Ryan was the coach, and we really blew them out that first game of the year. But we spent the whole summer trying to solve that defense because they ran with what they called a bastard offense. Defense rather, and not many people could solve it. So that was a big win back then. I remember going on the road and just playing. For instance, we played Syracuse when they were going to the Orange Bowl, and Coach McPherson was there, and he was yelling and screaming. You can hear him down that little dome that they played in, and they were going to Orange Bowl, and we defeated them there with a 2-minute offense at the end of the game. Darren Smith was our quarterback back then. I could also remember at LSU, and we thought we had a first down, and Darren Smith died for a first down, and I forget the year that was, and we ended up losing 16-13. So that was so we had a lot of great games, and one of the biggest ones, I think we played Ole Miss in the Superdome, and we had just a phenomenal win. But I think back to some of the players that we played and had. Our schedule back then, Lenny, people don't understand. When I was at Tulane, we played 7 SEC schools every year, 7, and Tulane used to be a member of the SEC, and I don't know if that was a good move for them to move out of the SEC or not. I mean, I do think that the program now, and Coach Summerall and Coach Willie Fritz has really brought that enthusiasm back. I think they're really on solid ground, but I would like to see the rivalry of LSU and Tulane rekindled again.
So your second stint at Tulane ends. That's what ends up bringing you to St. Charles Catholic. You had other stops in between the 2 trips to Tulane, to Riverside, and to Jesuit, but you end up here really with all the places you were. I guess this is the one place that now, if you talk about Frank Monica's legacy, it's more established right here at St. Charles Catholic than anywhere, as you spent almost a quarter century at the school.
Lenny, I really take a lot of pride in what we've done here, not so much on the wins and losses thing, but all the things that we actually built here, because at one time they didn't have their own separate weight room. We built that. We built this thing here. We had to rebuild the football field. We had to rebuild the stadium. Just all the things that we had to build to make it a top-notch facility so we can, I think you have to develop pride in your program. You start with the way the players tie their shoes, what they wear, their apparel. So you have to start from the foundation there. And, there were a lot of coaches. Coach Kaiser, I followed him here. Tim Dutilleux was here prior to that time and really got the program, established, and those guys, Wade, maintained it. So I just got it here, and my wife convinced me to come here because it was very, very, because she wanted me to be with my kids, and I had 4 kids that came through here, and we were close to home, where really a lot of people thought we were going to send our kids into the city, maybe a Jesuit, for instance, because I was there for 5 years, but I think it all worked out, and it was just you were 5 minutes from your house, and you could work endless hours, so even though you were 5 minutes from your house, it still took a lot of hours of preparation to get your team ready, bringing kids to camp. We brought kids to camp every year That was sort of one of the things that we wanted to do for our trademark. For a week we went to camp and we just installed football. And from that period on, I think the kids started to buy into stuff. Now, it wasn't easy early because we had to get the kids actually to understand what was going on. Even the parents had to convince them with the quarterback club and all the support, try to get some funds into the program. And, we were proud because we were the only Catholic school between here and Baton Rouge that had their own athletic facilities. And people don't realize that. In other words, what that means is that you practice on the same field they're going to play on Friday night. You can't say that in the city. You can't say that in Baton Rouge. So that was a huge deal. And that also applies to baseball also and softball. So that was a big plus for us to say that if we're going to build this thing, we have to do all those little things to attract kids to come here.
You won a title at Lutcher. You won a title at Riverside. Then after getting there a couple of times, you finally win that state title, the first one here at St. Charles Catholic in 2011 in the Dome in just a grind out, 9-8 game. What do you remember about that night?
Oh, I just remember, believe it or not, and I think our defense played lights out. We had a 300-pound guy that actually blocked the punt that led to the winning score in that ball game. But what people fail to realize, for 6 years we were in the district with John Curtis for 6 years, and we actually had to face him 3 other times for a state champion or a semifinal game, and so it prevented us from getting there. But the game against Meade, after the ball game, I didn't feel fulfilled. Even though we won the thing, I was excited for the coaches and the players. But the bottom line is that offensively, we didn't feel like we played our best game because, I tell you why, the semifinal game against Parkview Baptist took so much emotion out of us. We won it here. It was 4th down and 16, and we completed a 17-yard pass to set up the game-winning field goal, and that led us to go to the Superdome. But that game took a lot of emotion out of us. In 1 week's time, it was hard for us to act. Even though it was the Superdome as the venue, it was hard to get them back, get their mind back in shape.
Now, you've played state championships in a lot of places, actually. I mean, everybody, every coach in Louisiana, when we get to week 1, the goal is to finish the season in the Superdome. But you've played state championships at Shreveport, in the Dome, at UL, at Yeoman, so many different places. What is it that makes the trip to the Superdome different than the others?
Before I even allude to that, and I think the story about the 2005 team, it was the year of Katrina, when we had some kids that came from New Orleans. We were the only school open. We had kids from Rummel, we had kids from Holy Cross that actually came here, and they loved it here, and they wanted a chance to play. I remember Barry Hebert had to go into high water, chest-high water, go into the locker room, get extra gear, because they had some kids from Brother Morton that came over. They wanted to play football, and that was a fun year. With that 2005 team, what people realized, we took anybody that wanted to come here that we can fit in the school, and we had over 700 applications, and they only had room for 150, and we had a split schedule. But that 2005 team ended up going all the way to Shreveport to play John Curtis for a state championship. That was a special team, and I think they're going to honor them next Friday night, with the little food booth and stuff like that. But we had to play a state championship at when we went to select stuff. Things were different, and I might add, and I got to throw this out, we loved the fact when all the teams were together because we played some different people. We went on the road. We played at John Burroughs Hodge, and they had a great running back with it by the name of Marcus Scott. We played at up at Sterlington. We had played at Winfield, and our fans loved it because they can tailgate and stuff like that. We also played a state championship with Select. We played one at ULL. We played one at Northwestern, and which we didn't have success in either one of those, but we made it to the state championship, and naturally in the Superdome a couple times. But what makes the Superdome special is that it's just the highlight, and that's the final goal. So when you get there, that's your final goal. I mean, and the kids enjoy it. The parents all. I think they look forward to something like that, and it's the ultimate about getting there. But now you still have to play the game.
Well, you've watched this a lot. I would imagine this team that we're watching here on Friday night has got a chance to be the next one, perhaps, to get to the Superdome. There's a long way to go. We've still got some of the regular season left, and you got to get through 4 weeks of playoffs. But certainly, I'm sure as you watch, you could certainly see this team in the second weekend of December doing that again, playing in the Dome.
Well, I would think, there would certainly, as you said, a lot of things can happen, and I'm certainly pulling for it because I have a grandson, Brooks Monaco, on that team, so we're certainly pulling for that. But I was just telling the coach, and I told this to Coach Stein, I said, this team has something special. I think they have great leadership, and they play all three phases. They can play special teams, which I think that's something that no one practices a lot of anymore. They can play offense. They will take care of the football. They're not sloppy with the football. They're solid at quarterback, and they play real good defense. So it's going to take a real good football team on their level to defeat them. So the season is one thing. It's a tough schedule, but yet when they get in the playoff, they'll be playing somebody that's comparable to them.
The Hall of Famer himself, Frank Monica, right here on his field as we get ready for our second half of football from Laplace. All right, thanks to Frank Monica for a great visit. And
Always
he's always got stories to tell him. Look, we didn't even get into the crying towel types of things where he's got, he could have had material to carry us through the entire second half. There's no doubt about it.
Yep.
I wonder what he'd be saying right now if he was in this locker room. Listen to some of these numbers, Wade.
Right.
Time of possession. Legacy, 19 minutes and 5 seconds. St. Charles Catholic, 4:55.
Wow.
Offensive snaps, 40 to 12. Now keep in mind,
right.
You see the score, it's 18-14 there. And the reason it's 18-14 is because St. Charles Catholic has 2 return touchdowns, one from the defense and one from the special teams, both by Dax Prejean. You hope he's all right. He'll back right in there to play the second half here as Wayne Stein is talking to his team in the end zone right now as they get ready to take the field.
First of all, I don't think Dax Prejean is going to be okay, right? Second of all, you would have never thought that St. Charles would have only had the ball in the first half, what'd you say, 5 minutes?
5 minutes and 12 snaps.
Right,
That's
12 snaps, right? You thought it would be the other way around with the fast-scoring, fast-paced, electric offense of Legacy, the grinded out of St. Charles. Okay, so, what's got to happen here? I'm sure what was addressed in the St. Charles locker room was a couple of things. Offensively, they got on the offensive line again about having to be able to control the line of scrimmage, and they got to get their running game going. They've got to get their do-everything cowbell running back, Skylar Edwards, pumped and moving. Got it? That's the first thing that they've got to do, okay? Defensively, I'm sure they talked about, hey, look, they're going to get their catches. They're going to just make sure you don't let them have the yak after it. And then we have to contain this great quarterback, Henderson, and don't let him scramble and do things that can hurt us.
So look,
right?
they did a good job on Henderson in the
For
first quarter.
Yes.
First quarter, he had 29 yards passing. The second quarter, he had 192 yards passing, and they sustained some drives, and that's why we're where we are right now. And of course, got some things done, went 95 yards in the 2-minute drill.
Well, it's what he does with his legs when you do put pressure on. We've seen a lot of different things St. Charles has thrown at him. Like I said, whole deck of cards. They've had them in all week getting ready for these guys, right? And they're using them. They're bringing blitzes. They're dropping 8. They're playing zone. They're playing a little man, little off man, little zone blitz, little man blitz. They're doing a lot of different things to kind of to mess with this Legacy Titan offense. And the thing that is impressive is, number one, Henderson, he's handled every one of them, even with the pressure. So that goes to show you what he is capable of this second half, not to mention what he's capable of at the next level. So what went on in that Legacy locker room? I think they walked in there and said, hey, we got to put the hammer down. It's about motivating his guys and making sure that they don't have any miscues on special teams.
Here's Prejean. He is out there and took the second half kickoff back to about the 40-yard line. So Good field position for the Comets to get things started there.
What hinted to me that I knew this cat was going to be back, right? That's just the way this guy operates. We're talking about number 1 for St. Charles Catholic, Dax Prejean, right? I mean, he is a warrior, right? And warriors, they're not going to let something that's hurting them a little bit not playing a game like this against this type of athletic talent. He wants a part of everything that's going on this field tonight.
All right, so let's see if the Comets can sustain a little something with an offensive series to get things started in the third quarter. They run a little quarterback draw there on first down. Landry LeBlanc will get about 6. Stay ahead of the chains and stay ahead of schedule.
Yeah, move the chains. There you go. That's exactly what they want to do. With quarterback power row, get a kick out with the fullback and get the guard wrapped around up on the linebacker. It's a gap scheme, nicely done. Now you're looking at second and, 4. Yeah, 4.
That's very, very manageable, of course. Second and 4, the ball at the 46-yard line. Look, I don't know if St. Charles has run a play across the 50-yard line in this game. Edwards is going to get it across the 50 to the 49-yard line and a first down.
Well, that's one of the few outside runs, that outside stretch right there that we've seen Edwards have some success on tonight, because the speed of the guys in the white jerseys, they're running downhill, and there's not a lot of room out there. Right there, they found some success. They blocked the edge, and it allowed Edwards to get outside and pick up that first down.
Yeah, this is the first time tonight that St. Charles Catholic has snapped the ball across the 50-yard line. Edwards gets about 3.5 on first down.
You can see the mindset of the Comets, right? We're going to come out, we're going to run this football.
This is what you do. You've got to be able to do what you do best.
Right, and I'm telling you,
you can't be something you're not.
And that's were some of the words, I'm sure, that were passed around in that locker room.
So the ball at the 46-yard line of the Titans. 2nd down and 7, just underway here in the third quarter. Edwards broke a couple of tackles right at the line of scrimmage and fell forward for 2, and it's 3rd and 5.
Well, this is the question mark, the 3rd and 5, so 3rd and mediums. What is that going to make you do as an offense now, right? Do we throw the ball? Do we boot the ball? They've already tried the boots. They've had trouble blocking Keyshawn Alexander off the edge on the bootlegs. Let's see what they come to here.
You've got Edwards as a sidecar and 2 receivers to either side, including Cougar, who's lined up as a tight end. They'll swing it to Edwards in the flat. It's well defended. He makes one man miss, but he didn't get back to the line of scrimmage. It looks like they're going to mark him for a loss of 1. And now it's going to be 4th down and 6. Or no, they're going to put it back at the 44. Check that. 4th and 5.
Yeah,
and I think it's decision time. What do you do here?
I think you go ahead and you're trying to prove a point here. I think they're going to go for it. Look at the speed of Amari McNeil. He was the Mike linebacker that came, and he was responsible in the man coverage for Edwards that time. Boy, he is like lightning. I try to draw him off sides.
Yeah, exactly. There. And play clock will run out.
And then they're going to punt the ball.
Comets will be penalized for delay of game.
So a sound strategy right there. See if you can draw them. You know, look, they've had more than their share of pre-snap penalties. Not necessarily on defenses, but more on the offensive side.
And I like this strategy also. You know, use your special teams, put them down inside,
that's
right?
It. Go try to pin them and play defense.
I would not have blamed Wayne if he would not have gone for it right there. He's trying to make a point.
Prejean, nice kick. This is going to hit at the 10, check up, and it's going to be downed at the 11-yard line. No, they may call it the 10. So a nice job there. So made one first down and then bogged down, and now Legacy will take over for the first time here in the third quarter, leading this one 18-14. A chance to tell you that tonight's coverage on Crescent City Sports brought to you by Game On Social Hub, 2421 Veterans in Kenner, a full-service restaurant, arcade games, bowling, axe throwing, and laser tag. Game On has it all. Open till midnight tonight. Monday nights at 6. Join Ken Trahan with special guests for the St. Hall of Fame show on 106.7 The Ticket. This week's guest, New Orleans guy, former LSU quarterback Herb Tyler will be his guest.
Herb Tyler, O. Perry Walker? I think he's an O. Perry Walker.
I think you're right.
Here comes Blitz.
Henderson down the seam. Pass is caught to his big tight end, and out near the 40-yard line goes Timmy Timmerman for a gain of 29.
He's going to be on somebody's roster next year. This cat can run. He's big. He's got nice hands. I am sure he'll be picked up.
That puts Henderson up around 250 yards passing on the night. You mentioned he came in 2,352 yards in 6 games. That's averaging a little bit over 390 yards per game. You heard Robert Valdez in our open this evening. They had to face these guys, and he struggled. He said, this guy's the real deal, and he's showing us why with his legs as he gets the first down out past midfield. Couple of spin moves there.
Well, he made one miss in the backfield. He made another one miss at the line of scrimmage. He made another one miss on the boundary, and then he picks up the first down.
So it's 1st and 10 now at the St. Charles Catholic 48-yard line. So in 2 plays, Legacy has gone from their own 10 to across the 50.
Wayne Stein, talking to him before the game, and I know you talked to him, said this is the best quarterback he's seen in his coaching career, and that's a lot of good quarterbacks.
That is.
That includes a guy named Manning.
Yes, it does. Pass down the left sideline is incomplete, but flags come in. And let's see which way this is going to be called here. I think it's going against the defense based on the reaction.
Well, it's going to be a little bit different. Coach Bishop needs to know this is not an NCAA interference.
Oh, they called offense.
Wow.
Oh, wow. And I was wondering there because it looked like
they were hand fighting.
But it looked like he went over the defender trying to make a play right there.
Well, today you can call it both ways, and at all levels. You watch it on Sunday, you watch it on Saturday, and you watch it on Friday nights. You got a lot of hand fighting, you got a lot of shoving, you got a lot of pushing. Yeah. A lot of it goes to interpretation, where the ball is. Did both people have a chance to catch the football? So it's a
10-yard penalty, 1st and 20 at the 42. Trying to run it himself that time. Henderson only gets about a yard.
Tyler Bovia makes up for the missed tackle he had back in the first half. Came down the line of scrimmage from behind Henderson and pulled him down.
Defensive end came in with 32 and a half tackles on the year.
Only a sophomore.
There's some youngsters on this St. Charles defense. They've got just 5 seniors among their regular rotation. A lot of juniors, so a lot of guys going to be back next year. Henderson pass in the direction of Brown, incomplete, and Prejean was right there, as was Kristen McLean.
Yeah, nice job by Prejean getting to where he needed to be and use the proper hand to get it in there and disrupt the pass. I think the route by Brown, he didn't keep bringing the ball back. Henderson was throwing the ball to where it needed to be. I think Brown cut his route short and did not climb back to the ball. So I'm going to fault Brown on that particular route right there.
So this is a huge play for this Comet defense right here. Legacy scored on their last 3 possessions of the first half. Here's a chance to get off the field on 3rd and 19. Henderson is in trouble. He's got to let it go. Pass is caught and room to run down the sidelines, but a nice defensive play to keep that short of the sticks, and I believe that was Prejean coming up from his safety spot to make the stop.
Well, they brought the house and they got home, but did you see the athleticism of Henderson to escape that and get the ball out to his receiver, Demarius Richardson, and that's him down on the boundary over there. It looked like he came down on the ball in his midsection when he was knocked out of bounds. But again, the escapability of Henderson is impressive. I mean, if the folks at home their eyes aren't wide open, glued to watching this guy, you might be watching a guy here that
He's going to play on Saturdays, but he may play on Sundays.
He's going to play on Sundays, especially with the way the league is going with the type of quarterbacks that they like today. Right?
And again, he is a guy who is the number 1 ranked quarterback, dual threat in America by ESPN.
Well, it's going to be interesting. Is Coach Fritz going to be able to hang on to him? Because you got to.
He's had him for a year and a half so far.
Right.
And look, in this NIL era, I'm sure all of that has been sewn up from that perspective in terms of what is coming his way. And it's that's
it's a part of our world today.
It's all above board now.
It's all
4th and 7, and they'll go for it. Henderson pass incomplete. He threw it behind his intended receiver. I believe that was Brown over there, and St. Charles's defense gets off the field, and that's huge.
Look, one of the few holds by the defense tonight, if it isn't a turnover, right, that speaks volumes to that defense. What that does, it gives them confidence that they can stop this offense. That was a screen they were trying to set up, anticipating blitz by St. Charles. The ball was just overthrown to Brown.
All right, so St. Charles taking over at the 45-yard line. A little under 6.5 to play here in the third quarter. Fake the jet sweep and run it straight ahead with the quarterback, LeBlanc, and he will get about half of what is needed. Gain of 5. He's been an effective runner tonight. Came in with 199 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground, but his ability to run the football has been one of the offensive highlights thus far for the Comets. It's that, it's that changeup out there. Obviously, you've got to pay attention to Skylar Edwards, but LeBlanc's ability to run the ball has been very important tonight. 2nd and 5 right at the midfield stripe. He'll run it again. LeBlanc, can he get to the sticks? No, he will get stood up about 2 yards short. Maybe they'll move it up to the 46-yard line, but it's going to be 3rd and short coming up right here for St. Charles Catholic.
Yeah, it's going to be 3rd and 1, and they run the same thing again out of a different formation with a little bit different eye candy. All the motion is across, trying to fake that jet sweep stuff, is to try to get those linebackers and guys in the secondary to get their eyes on that crossing stuff, right, to open up the power inside for LeBlanc.
Full house backfield, everybody in tight right here on 3rd and 1. Edwards got the line to gain, and about another 1.5 yards more, and it's a Comet first down.
Well, they defensively proved to themselves that they can stop this high-octane offense. Now the offense has to prove to themselves that they can run the ball on this very fast Titan defense. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to establish the run.
And look, whatever the result is here tonight, we mentioned St. Charles finally starts district play next week, and that is a loaded district that they are in Class 4A. Down the middle, pass is caught to the tight end. Inside the 20, inside the 10. 1st and goal, St. Charles Catholic at the 3-yard line. Gabe Kugler with his 10th catch of the year, and no doubt his biggest play of the season.
Well, it all started with the motion again to try to get the eye candy for the secondary to look in the backfield with the jet motion. They ran a couple of plays with it, then they hit him big with Kugler across the center. He gets lost in the man coverage.
1st and goal at the 3-yard line. Stack eye formation here. Edwards trying to stay on his feet. He will come up short of the goal line. They'll mark it at the 1, 2nd and goal.
Yeah, inside the 1, they're running that downhill power out of the stack eye formation. Look for them to come back with something similar to that again.
They'll stay with the same look. This is St. Charles really is old school. LeBlanc came over to the sidelines to get the play call. You really don't see a lot of that anymore. It's signals and it's the fancy cards and stuff like that. Now LeBlanc at a gun with 3 blockers to his left. He's stood up. Did he get in? No, they're going to mark him just a foot short. It's going to be 3rd and goal. That was a different look. They took the three
Right.
backs and basically turned them into three wing backs on the left side.
Well, what they did is they just took LeBlanc and turned him into a tailback with three blockers in front of him. So they took the stack I, moved it to the left. They became the kick out, the seal, and the wrap, with the quarterback being the tailback off tackle.
So they'll go back to the stack I this time with Edwards the deepest. He'll get the football. He is in for the touchdown. And St. Charles Catholic regains the lead with 2:56 to play here in the third quarter.
Another huge confidence builder for that offense, right? They ran the ball. They used play action. They did all the things that they like to do in their offense. They come away with 6 points.
A 7-play, 55-yard drive takes 3:32 off the clock, and the Comets have regained the lead 20-18 with the extra point coming from Miliotto. Snap was a little shaky, though. Prejean got it down, and the kick is good. And your new score, St. Charles Catholic 21 and the Legacy School 18. That was a big answer after that fourth down stop to be able to go and turn that into points right there.
Yeah, I mean, when you can get a stop and turn around and come away with the points, you've got to be pumped up, right? I mean, that's I'm sure all of that was talked about at halftime in the locker room, and they executed just the way Wayne Stein wanted them to execute. Of course, triggered by the big play, the big pass off the play action to the tight end Kugler.
Yeah, that got 41 of those 55 yards.
Well, the other thing that does that, it puts a lot of clout in Landry LeBlanc's wallet, right? I mean, for now he knows that he can operate, and if he has to, he can throw that football against this defense of Legacy. Again, look for the pooch kick. That's what I
that's
would
one
do.
thing we found is two teams that are generally trying to kick it away from return men who are dangerous. St. Charles has already taken one back for a touchdown tonight. Miliotto will kick it deep, and this will go into the end zone for a touchback. When you can do that, there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
This isn't the NFL where it comes out to the 35. You get it at the 20.
Yeah, there's no landing zone out there.
No.
Thank goodness. Right. Don't get me started.
Well, look, it's, I understand the safety aspect and trying to change things up, and they're basically trying to legislate to keep the kickoff in the game, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So let's see what kind of adjustments perhaps did the.
Well, I think St. Charles has shown all their cards, right? They're going to just keep dialing up what they've got. It's about timing with them and not giving up the cheap pass or the catch and run. It's going to be interesting to see if Legacy will run the football some more.
Yeah, they did a nice job with that in the first half. They'll throw it out. That ball's out. A nice hit, and that is recovered by St. Charles Catholic.
That might have been Preston Combe recovering that ball, or it might have been Preston Combe laying the hit. Could not tell.
We'll get another look here. The big hit.
Was that Preston Combe on the big hit?
Yeah.
He's had a couple of nice plays tonight.
So now here's a big opportunity for St. Charles Catholic with 2:50 to play. In the third quarter, the ball at the 22-yard line, and now a chance to perhaps go in and make this a two-score game. And once again, it's going to be LeBlanc on first down running the football. Getting it out to, gets into the red zone, out to about the 17-yard line.
I think they see something on the left side of their offense that they feel like they have a mismatch against that Legacy defensive line, outside linebacker combination. It's simply they feel like they have with Jacques Vicnair, Colt Craig over there on that side that they might have an advantage. They seem to be hammering that power, quarterback power O, the power O with Skylar Edwards to the left-hand side.
They'll go right side this time with Edwards. He makes a man miss and gets into the secondary and inside the 10 to about the 7-yard line.
Simple power, getting a great kick out with the fullback who was lined up in the hip formation on that side. Gets the kick out, back side guard wraps around, gets up to the linebacker. Nice hole, nice run for Skylar Edwards.
So 1st and goal at the 7-yard line, and a big opportunity for St. Charles Catholic to turn this into a 2-score game to take advantage of the turnover. They'll fake the jet sweep, and the quarterback will keep it again. And are they going to mark him down? Now they're going to say a touchdown. Far side official called it a touchdown by Landry LeBlanc, his 4th rushing touchdown of the year. Near side didn't make the indication right away. That's why I thought his knee might have hit. But
Right.
It's a 7-yard touchdown run for LeBlanc, and St. Charles Catholic now has a 27-18 lead. A chance to make it 28-18 with the point after by Miliotto. It is good, and the Comets have scored now 14 points in 91 seconds to take command for the moment. But as we know, that quarterback on the far sideline can turn this around in a hurry.
No doubt about it, but you got to also understand they've given up 14 points and turnovers from their offense, right? So you had the interception in the first half for the touchdown, and right there the turnover and great field position, and they're back into the end zone talking about the Comets. That has got to stop. Legacy has got to stop with the turnovers.
Well, and look, special teams has played a big part in this game.
And then you got
Legacy has not converted after a touchdown. That's why this is a 2-score game right now. If you're converting there, it's a 28-21 game, and you could tie it up with a touchdown. But it's a 2-score game right now.
An answer is an answer. You just can't answer with a turnover, right? So, again, St. Charles needs to put it either in the end zone or don't kick it to those guys that are fast back there.
Well, when blew it off the tee?
Yeah. The ball fell off the tee.
And what's interesting is I look at the flag, the American flag to our left. It's barely moving.
Right.
So I don't know if he just had it trying to get it a special way on the tee there and it just didn't hang up for him. But we'll try it again. Miliotto will put this one into the end zone for a touchback. It actually bounced at the 1 and then went in. Sorry, Legacy will now go back out trailing by 10. Remember, they led 18-14 at halftime.
Right, and you got to have a short memory of a goldfish, right? And you got to come back out slinging that football again. I really like to see Legacy get their running back Shepard a little bit more involved. I mean, we saw some good things from him in the first half with that big offensive line up front leaning on the guys in blue. Get their running game going, and that will help their passing game a lot, especially on the play action.
Shepard now a sidecar alongside Henderson, who will drop back on first down. Pass caught. It's the big tight end Timmerman, who's quickly bottled up. It's a gain of 5.
Look, it took 5 blue jerseys on Timmerman. They never did get him down, right? He's running the low drag across. Henderson's looking for the deep post, all covered up by everybody in blue, so he comes down to his second choice, his second receiver, which was Timmerman on the drag. He's immediately hit by 5 guys from St. Charles, and they couldn't get him on the ground. He's a big dude.
St. Charles rushing 3, dropping 8 right now. Henderson, pass, caught. Right at the line to gain. We'll wait and see the spot. And it is a first down, and it is again Timmerman on the catch.
Well, that same route, different direction, right? They came from the other side with Timmerman that time on the low drag. He's the second read in the progression for Henderson, who was looking for the post. And it was all covered again, and his outlet was the big tight end Timmerman running the 6-7 yard drag across the center.
So at the 31, what'll probably be the final play of the third quarter. Henderson Shot down the field, got a man caught. St. Charles Catholic 40, 30, 20, pushed out of bounds. Inside the 20, they'll call it the 12-yard line, and that was Richardson who got free in the secondary, a gain of 57.
Well, there it is. I mean, that's what they do, right? I mean, they find spots, they find holes in zones. Ball is delivered on time, and it starts with Henderson. Then what happens when they catch it? They can blow and go.
Then they know what to do with it.
Yeah,
exactly.
they can blow and go.
Henderson now over 300 yards passing for the night. They will get one more snap here in the quarter with 5 seconds to play. Henderson moved off his spot, now running, trying to get towards the goal line. He is dragged down short of the line to gain. It's going to be second down and short when we come back, as that is the final play of the third quarter. A big turn of events for St. Charles Catholic. The fourth down stop, the fumble recovery, they convert those into 14 points. As we go to the fourth, your score, St. Charles Catholic 28, the Legacy School of Sports Science 18. You're watching high school football from Crescent City Sports. All right, we change ends. We get set for the fourth quarter of football. And before we do, we want to remind you that tonight's coverage on Crescent City Sports brought to you by Lamar Crescent City Ford, the commercial vehicle center at 6121 Jefferson Highway in Harahan. Lamar Crescent City Ford. We got a truck for that. So as we made the long trip from one end zone to the other, it will be Legacy going right to left here in the final period, starting the fourth quarter, a 2nd and 2 at the 4-yard line. Henderson over 300 yards passing the night's going to run it here off the left side and in for the touchdown. It is a 28-24 game after the 4-yard touchdown run by Henderson.
Quarterback sweep, everything out in front of him, and he just picks his way into the end zone untouched.
5 plays, 80 yards. It took just a minute and 26 seconds. These guys can score quickly, and Legacy struggling with their kicking game. They are going to go for 2. The book would say, maybe kick here, but if you're not going to kick a field goal anyway, you might as well try to go for 2 and tighten this up a little bit. Low snap. Henderson's going to run it off the right side, and he's going to be dragged down. So that is now 0 for 4 on conversions tonight for Legacy, and is a 28-24 game with 11:55 to play.
They were trying to obviously get the ball in the hands of one of their receivers, but with the bad snap, Henderson gets his hands down there, picks it up, just takes off over to his right, and everything in the blue jerseys converged to him to keep him out. And you're right, going for 2 here, and I would rather have the ball in number 1's hands than on my kicker's foot, right?
No, it's look, no doubt.
So the question is, what can St. Charles do? Can they answer again? Can they keep their running game? They found some running game last quarter, right? Mm-hmm. Tailored by LeBlanc and Edwards.
Yeah, a little bit of LeBlanc, a little bit of Edwards, and then of course the big play offensively was that little pass down the middle to the tight end, Gabe Kugler.
Right, and so if you can run the ball that way with that little cross motion and get all that eye candy going, hopefully they can come back, and I know what they're thinking, that they can come back with some sort of play action off of that and catch them with their feet in cement in man coverage with some sort of play action. But it all starts with the run. It all starts up front with that offensive line being able to give some creases for LeBlanc and Edwards.
So a short kickoff will be taken at about the 24-yard line and brought down at about the 37, it looks like. That was Walker LeBlanc on the return that time.
One of the LeBlanc cousins. I saw their grandparents before the game as I was walking up to the stands, and Mr. LeBlanc and his lovely wife, I tell you what, coming back brings back a lot of memories.
We were joking the other day, and we've done this before. This is nothing new. You're clearly the third best head coach in St. Charles Catholic history. So it's but when you got the guy that's down there now and the other guy in the Hall of Fame, that's not a bad place to be.
No, it isn't. And look, I got to say this, Frank Monica's. I had a chance to work with him in the 80s at Jesuit, and he spent a lot of time under his tutelage when I was on his staff, as well as when I, was a head coach, going to him and getting information on how to do things right. And, I come from that tree. Right, I come from that Frank Monica tree.
Yeah, you're forever a branch. Yes, no doubt about it.
Exactly, and I will be forever grateful.
LeBlanc got one on first down, so it's 2nd down and 9. We'll show a little option this time. Pitch it. LeBlanc's got the outside, but it's quickly closed up by the pursuit of this legacy defense, and it's a gain of maybe 2.5 on the play. When it first unfolded there, Wade, I thought that had a chance to be a big play, but then you saw that speed close.
Yeah, you saw Traynell Rivers' speed, number 44, who's a defensive lineman, come from his defensive tackle position, get out there for just only a 2-yard gain. They had the edge blocked, right? They had everything ran off in the man coverage. You don't need to block it. You just run the defenders off, so that gives you a soft edge. That isn't what Traynell Rivers says. Traynell Rivers says, I'm going to turn on my jets, I'm going to get off my block, and I'm going to get out there, I'm only going to let you get 2 yards.
That play was slow to come in, so there's only 4 on the clock as they get to the line, and Wayne Stein's not even going to wait till it gets to 0. He's going to call timeout right now with 10:18 to play, leading this one 28-24. So, we mentioned earlier, St. Charles Catholic has not started district play yet. They do it next week. All right. They've got Bellchase coming in what is an enormous game. We saw Bellchase early in the year against South Plaquemines, and they have been dominant against everybody they've played. But now it's about to get interesting. That's going to be a very, very entertaining game here next Friday night. Then Halloween night they will play over at Musbertolino Stadium, Ed Daniels Field against Kenner Discovery, and then they will close out the regular season against Archbishop Shaw, of course, who is the defending Division II Select champions. For our folks watching in Texas, there are 8 champions in Louisiana. We break up into select and non-select, which basically means do you have a defined district where you draw players from, or can you get them from more than just that? And that's, select is the latter of those. 3rd down, they're going to try to run the little swing pass, and Edwards could not hang on to it, and it will be 4th down and 7.
Well, it was trying to be a single back screen. They had a blocker out in front, and they were trying to swing the ball out to Edwards with the blocker in front of him, and the ball just went off his hands. It was poorly executed, not a very good pass by LeBlanc. So that's going to force a punt, right? But I tell you right here, they need to cover this thing.
They're playing punt safe back there. Nobody's back. This could roll a long way if Prejean gets the right bounce, and he does. Inside the 10, and it's going to come to a stop at the 7-yard line. They were taking no chances there. They were in punt safe.
Right. Well,
not even with a deep man.
That's why I said they need to cover this thing, because they had 11 up at the line of scrimmage in a punt safe type of look, and this would give St. Charles a chance to flip the field and make Legacy have to go, 92 yards.
Yeah, exactly.
So, that's something that they're capable of doing. We've seen them do it, but hey, you'd rather have them go 90 than 55 or 60.
No doubt.
So they needed to cover that. That's another huge special team play by St. Charles Catholic.
Legacy, of course, just went 80 yards in 5 plays. You had that big 57-yard catch and run by Damaris Richardson. The mesh didn't work very well there, but Nice job to hang on to the football by Keyshawn Richardson, and he gets 2.
Just didn't exactly see what Keyshawn Henderson was reading
Henderson,
at that time.
I said Rich. I'm just talking about Damaris Richardson. Keyshawn Henderson. Yeah, it was like
Yeah,
there
right.
was it was one of those mesh
yeah.
one of those mesh plays where you either hand it to Shepard or you
Right.
keep it yourself, and it was.
But I just couldn't tell what he was reading because that should have been a disconnect off the edge rather than a disconnect inside.
So it's 2nd and 8. The ball at the 10-yard line. Henderson handles a low snap, throws this way. Pass is caught and brought down right at the sticks is Damaris Richardson, and it's going to be a first down. He stretched it out to the 20-yard line.
Look, great play by the corner, number 6, Kristen McLean, tackling the receiver for no yak. For the most part, St. Charles has done a nice job with that tonight. No yak, yards after catch. They're going to get their catches. You just can't let them go wild when they catch the ball.
Off the right side is Shepard. He will get it to about the 24-yard line.
Again, would really like to see more of that run game out of these guys. You know, I understand Keyshawn Henderson is a golden arm and he can rifle that thing and put it wherever you want to put it. But to be a complete offense, they need to be able to run the ball a little bit more with their running back. And he's a fine running back, Julian Shepard Jr., 5'8", 180 pounds.
Clock moving towards 8 minutes to play. Pass broken up. What a terrific play as he was looking for Brown and dropping into coverage to knock that away. I believe that was Briggs Anderson from his star spot.
Briggs Anderson gets a hand on it, leaves the ground, stretches out like he's sliding into second base and knocks that ball away.
Well, a lot of these football players for Wayne Stein do play
Oh, yeah.
baseball as well. There's a lot of that.
Great baseball school, just a great school all around. You know, not girls athletics as well as boys athletics.
No doubt. 3rd down and 6. Big 3rd down play coming up here. Shot down the field. Pass is caught. And behind everybody and on his way to the end zone, it's a touchdown for Damaris Henderson. And just like that, the Legacy School has taken the lead once again.
Post route, got on top of the safety. Safety's feet were in cement. Henderson just runs right past him. Ball's put out where he can run to it. The golden arm of Henderson, man, I'm telling you, he just lays it out there and says, go get it, buddy, and he can go get it. We're talking about these receivers, and one of them is Richardson that just caught that pass. Look, that's the nightmare that St. Charles did not want to see. That's the nightmare they talked about all week. Make sure you don't let these guys get on top of you. Got on top of the safety and halves coverage is a no-no.
Yeah, and look, now you're going to try and kick here because obviously kicking the extra point makes it a 3-point game. And this time, the kick is good.
And the mechanism and the mechanics and everything were a lot less awkward than we've seen in the first half. But that's a no-no. That can't happen. And Wayne Stein and his defensive staff right now are talking to
Take
his
another look here,
safeties,
right?
and they're saying to him, you just can't let the guy get on top of you on a post route when we're in halves. He split us.
Just got, came on a post and was,
Well, something froze his feet.
Got behind the deepest. Yeah, there was some play action there, but it wasn't. Yeah.
What freezes your feet in the secondary is what you're looking at and what your eyes are seeing. You got to trust your eyes. If your eyes deceive you, that's exactly what's happening. The question you ask the player when he's coming off the field, you ask them in good language, what were you looking at? Your eyes will not deceive you. So I'm sure that young man said something along the lines, cleanly, that he had his eyes in the backfield and he lost the receiver on the post. That's how fast those guys can get past you and behind you in a millisecond. Got to trust your eyes.
Oh, thought it was going out of bounds. Now he picked it up when it started to take a bounce forward. And it will be LeBlanc to return out to about the 26, 27-yard line.
Well, St. Charles has got to answer. They know they've got to answer. They've got some tools that they can use, right? I think they need to come back to establishing the run here in the last 8:06 left in the quarter, and then come back and hit them with that play-action pass again. Maybe not the same one, but something similar.
Quarterback run again on first down. That's really been, Wade, their best play on first down to stay on schedule. And he gets 7 there.
Yeah, it's had a 12 personnel, 2 backs in the backfield. You've got a lead blocker. You've got a wrap blocker with the second back. And then you've got the backside guard coming and being the third wrapper around for the backside linebacker, allowing LeBlanc to be able to hit that power up inside.
So 2nd and 3 at the 35. We're going to run it again here. Why not? Make them stop it. LeBlanc off the right side gets 5, and it's a first down.
A little bit different scheme, though, that time. ISO, you get a double down, you get a kick out, and you get a back leading up on the linebacker for an isolation play. But you're right, Lenny, the key is it's Landry LeBlanc that's making these yards. He is the workhorse tonight for this St. Charles running game.
So from the 40. He'll go jet sweep this time, trying to get it to the right side, and
it's not out there.
They had lined up Evan Dufour, the backup running back, in the slot that time, and just a different way to try to get the running backs involved in the running game, I guess. It gets 3, which is not, it's not 6 or 7 like you've been getting.
It's tough sledding out there. Why is it tough sledding? Because those guys in white can flat run, right? They're going to chase you down. So it just takes longer to get out there on the edge. Now, you're using it to set some things up as they did in the third quarter.
Look to throw it. They got a throwback screen set up this time. And out past the 50 into Legacy territory at the 42-yard line goes Skylar Edwards on that little throwback screen. Well designed right there.
Yeah, well designed, well executed. The block was thrown by Parker Millet out there, number 55, getting out there in front of the receiver to be able to spring him. Great block by that offensive lineman. You love to see offensive linemen do things like that. Oh man, that just gets me excited, right?
Yep.
Because it's offensive linemen getting their names called.
Yep. Clock ticks under 6 minutes. Well, if you're Wayne Stein, you'd love to find a way to just run the last 6 minutes out here and score with no time left. Quarterback off the right side. 7 yards on first down.
They found something now on the right-hand side. They were wearing the left-hand side of their offense out over there. They had found something earlier in the third quarter. Now they're coming back to something that they see over here on the right-hand side.
So it's 2nd and 3 at the 36-yard line. This is just a quarterback sweep right here. LeBlanc's going to try and cut it back up inside, but he's got a host of white shirts waiting for him when he cuts it back, led by Traynell Rivers, that big 6'2", 230-pound sophomore defensive lineman.
Look, he's good.
I like what I've seen from him.
Yeah, he's a good player. Look, he's really good. He's fast. He gets off of blocks. You got to run at that dude, and you got to use some sort of gap scheme with him because you're going to have to come at him from ankles. If you're trying to stretch block this guy, you're trying to reach block him. He's off that block and running like he was that time.
Whistles, timeout Legacy before this can be snapped. St. Charles Catholic on 3rd and 2 is lined up in that jumbo look with everybody in tight and that stack eye formation.
Yeah, well, this is 4 down territory, right? So
Absolutely.
You've got 2 plays to get, what is that, 3 yards, 4 yards?
2 yards. That's it.
Yeah.
It's 3rd and 2.
Third and 2 yards. So I mean, you're gonna come up with your best run play right here, and you're gonna run it. And I gotta think that Landry LeBlanc will have something to do with it.
So
look, I think they've answered the challenge in the second half. Talking about St. Charles,
No doubt.
I'm sure they were challenged. That offensive line was challenged at halftime in their locker room by Wayne Stein and staff, and I think they've met that challenge.
Well, look, 5 minutes and 12 plays, that's usually one drive for this offense.
Right.
That was what they did the entire first half. Now, some of that was the fact that you had a pick six and a kickoff return for a touchdown where you just didn't get the ball back. But when they did have it, they didn't do much with it. Edwards just takes on guys and just bounces off and gets to the 31-yard line. It's a first down.
Yeah, well, he took on 3 guys right there. Did you see the way he lowered his shoulder pads and he kept his legs driving? I mean, that's just good physical run right there. Good physical downhill running by the St. Charles tailback.
Violent is the word that comes to mind there.
Yeah, there you go. Looking for an adjective.
Fake the jet sweep there, and probably the best that Legacy has defended the quarterback run on first down. It gets 3.
Waiting for a little play action pass. This is where I would probably do it right here.
So 2nd and 7 at the 28. You see the clock on your screen. It will tick down under 3.5 minutes before we snap the football here. St. Charles got it back with 8:12 to play. So this drive is now closing in on 5 minutes. We'll show a little option here. Edwards. It's blown up on the outside.
Yeah, it's blown up. It was blown up from the start. It didn't have a chance. That ball's in the air. That's when the guys in the white jerseys are coming downhill at a lightning speed, right? I've already talked about their closing speed. And you know, I don't like that play against this type of personnel that Legacy has on defense.
You wonder if it's, again, is it now? It's getting late, but it's all about, is it setting something up
right, but
here for down the road?
You know, it just puts you in a bad situation here with 3rd and long.
I think it was Yogi Berra said it's getting late early. So on 3rd and 13, they faked a little pass that time. They were trying to look like, and you're going to get an interference call, I believe. Let's see what the call is there. Is it going to be holding? I don't know, but it was. It looked like it was going to be just a screenplay, and then tried to turn it upfield. That was intended for Dufour, and there was a lot of contact going on there.
That was DeAndre Frazier on the coverage. I thought he was in pretty good position. Again, it's coming from the center of the field official who was not the closest to the action. That's interesting.
Okay. We still haven't seen
wow
anything walked off here yet.
Wow. Let's remember that is not an automatic first down.
But it's going to be, I believe,
yeah,
right?
Well, it will be by the yardage. But, I mean, I didn't see much going on there. I thought
let's take
the
another
coverage
look
was pretty
here.
darn good.
Take another look.
DeAndre Frazier was in on that coming from his man position.
And it was a throw that, was out of bounds. That's the other part of it as well. So.
Right, and it came from the bat judge that was in the center of the field, not the closest official.
Right. So in the red zone now at the 19-yard line. Edwards, between the tackles, fights for that extra yard, and he will finally be whistled down at the 13-yard line, a gain of 6.
Well, both teams have 2 timeouts left. Everybody needs to keep that in mind.
Yep. As the clock ticks towards 2 minutes, and remember, we talked about Legacy struggle with the kicking game. Milioto's an outstanding kicker. He had a 42-yarder last week against Terrebonne. You and I were here 2 years ago when he kicked a field goal in overtime to send the Comets to the Superdome 10-7 over U High, and what was just a classic defensive struggle that night.
Yeah, I remember
haven't seen that tonight by any means. 31-28 Legacy. Whistles before this one can get started. I believe they're gonna call him offside.
They lined up in the neutral zone. And they don't understand that because somebody might have moved, jumped, and gotten back because that's NCAA.
Well, and the other thing, yeah, exactly. It's
Right.
the minute you cross into the neutral zone in Federation rules,
correct.
It is.
I
is the
saw
first time, yeah.
I saw a couple of the Titans put their hands up like Traynell Rivers couldn't understand why.
Right.
But that's why right
so,
there.
So now it's 1st and goal at the 8 with 1:40 and counting to play. And be interesting to see just what Michael Bishop does about using his timeouts here.
Well, I think he needs to use them, right? Yeah, St. Charles runs the football right here. He needs to quickly call that timeout. Yeah. St. Charles wants to bleed that 40-second clock all the way down.
Again, like we talked about a while back, in a perfect world, you score at 0. Edwards falls forward to about the 6.
No timeout.
So this drive is now 11 plays and is covered 66 yards.
Interesting. Legacy not using a timeout. I guess they're saying it's either going to happen here or
You're
not.
You're going to get a stop and kick a field goal and send this thing to overtime, perhaps. Remember, these teams played overtime a year ago. Edwards, fighting, stood up, put it at the 4-yard line, it looks like. It's going to be 3rd down. See how Wayne Stein plays it in terms of timeouts, and he will use one right here with 23 seconds to play.
All right, here we go. I mean,
Well, look,
right.
At this point, you got the field goal in your hip pocket. You don't turn the ball over here. You keep everything clean. You know you've got that sitting there, the chance to be able to kick the field goal, and in all likelihood go to overtime. Now, perfect world, you don't want to do that. You want to be able to score right here.
Well, I think you look for your best pass play right here. Something that you know that you can complete. You know you're going to get man coverage. Somehow, some way, you isolate somebody off of play action and you take your shot right here. Make sure that if it isn't open, you sail it out the back of the end zone and you kick the 3 and tie it up.
So, again, you're looking at the timeout situation. St. Charles Catholic has 1. Legacy has 2.
All right, here we go.
3rd down and goal. Why is every time we come here we get these thrilling finishes, right?
That's well worth the money.
No doubt about it. Look at the games that St. Charles has played the last 2 weeks. 34-28 on the last play of the game. They lost to St. James. Last week they go to Terrebonne and they win 31-28. Right now they trail 31-28 with 23 seconds to play. 2 receivers to the top, I formation. Going to run it again, and he is in for the touchdown. You went to what you do best, and you give it to Skylar Edwards, and St. Charles Catholic leads with 18 seconds to play.
Well, you picked the guy that got you there, right? And it was either going to be Landry or Skylar Edwards. Skylar Edwards is their bell cow. Has been all year long. They run it over on the left side with the ISO play, and he walks into the end zone.
13 plays, 72 yards, 7 minutes and 54 seconds off the clock. Ed whistles before that could get underway. It's going to be offside.
Lined up in the neutral zone again.
Right. They jumped the gun trying to block the kick.
Now, you can decline this. So that way you don't move the ball and mess up the distance and the technique of the kicker, because the closer you get, it becomes a problem.
Oh, no doubt, especially if you're on a hash, which they're not here.
Right.
Obviously, right in the center of the field. So to make this a 4-point game, Miliotto's kick is good, and your new score: St. Charles Catholic 35, Legacy 31. 18 seconds to play. One more look at the touchdown here, Wade.
Well, you can see that blocking up front is nicely done, and then you see Edwards just pop in there and give a little jump cut and walk into the end zone. Nicely done by the offensive line. Nicely done by the lead blocker, which was the fullback.
Yeah, and Jacques Vicnair, 77, a left tackle, with a big-time block as well. So you left 18 seconds on the clock. The good news is you got it down to 18 seconds. The bad news is there's still 18 seconds, and you give the opportunity here for the powerful arm of Keyshawn Henderson to let one fly. The good news is you know he's got to let one fly.
Yeah, well, and he's got 2 timeouts too. You know, I mean, you know, they're not.
You just got to get it to the point. No, you got to get it to the point where you can reach the end zone.
They're not scared. They have plenty of time in their world. They have done this 1,000 times in practice.
Sure.
Okay, 1,000 times, 2 timeouts, 18 seconds.
This is a legacy offense that has scored 40 or more points in every game this year. This is going to be their lowest point total of the year. Kickoff will bounce into the end zone, and they won't try to waste time here, and they're going to bring it out to the 20-yard line.
Well, here you go. They with the 2 timeouts, they can throw the ball across the center of the field here. They don't have to completely work the boundary.
Yeah, you probably have 3 plays. You might have 4.
Correct.
Okay.
So, I mean, the world is their oyster, right? If you want to put it like that. They can dial up anything they want to because of the 2 timeouts gives them that luxury.
So St. Charles is going to rush 3. Let's see how deep they get here in this. They're going to shade this defense to the near side of the field. Looks like now Wayne Stein is going to call timeout to talk about things defensively after he sees what it is that they're going to do to set up. Because what's interesting is this. Look, you've gotten behind this defense a couple of times already tonight. Are you looking to – how is Michael Bishop going to play this? Are you looking to nickel and dime a little bit to get it within range that you could take one shot at the end zone? Or are you just trying to go deep 3 times right here?
Look, who's had a really nice night for Legacy is the Timmerman kid.
Oh,
right?
no doubt.
Timmerman has caught the ball across the center kind of at will, right?
And Richardson has been outstanding as well. Of course, he had that 76-yard catch to put him ahead.
He's got to be a part of your equation here. You know, they like the 4 verticals. They like to square in off the 4 verticals when they get too high. And the guy that's going to be running the square in when they get too high coverage, which is what St. Charles has given them right there, is going to be the big receiver, Timmerman. Look at the space in the center of the field.
They'll throw it out in the flat. And out of bounds. That was McNeil on the catch. The gain of 5. It took 5 seconds off the clock. Again, you're just trying to creep a little bit closer here.
Right, and if you're St. Charles, you're doing everything you can to get them to run that clock as much as possible. Contain.
There's your man Timmerman down the middle of the field. It'll be a first down. The clock is at 8. Clock 7. Now they're going to have to. They need to, that timeout is called 5 seconds. They're going to put some time back on the clock.
They've got to. They should at least put. If I'm Michael Bishop, I'm screaming right now that I'm trying to get. I'll try to milk an extra second. I'm saying I need 8 on the clock. I think they need 7.
Let's see if we get a change. They put 10 seconds on the clock. They added 5 more. So now you've definitely. And I think that might have been pretty close because it looked like he was giving himself up right away. He went down.
It's like it's kind of like the used car salesman, right? Always ask for more than they're willing to give, right? So I would always have been working the official to try to get an extra second or 2 seconds put back on the clock.
All right. So what are you doing here? Are you now to the point you're taking 2 shots at the end zone, or are you trying to get a little bit closer with one more play and you're one right? And you've got one timeout left.
I'm taking 1 shot down the center of the field, and I'm calling timeout. Then I'm taking my shots at the end zone. I love Timmerman in the center of the field.
So St. Charles rushing 3, and now they're dropping guys even deeper. Now they've got their deepest at about the 30-yard line. Henderson's going to step up. this might end up being the last play of the game. Incomplete. There's 2 seconds left.
See, that's what burnt the clock.
But you knew you had 2 plays.
Right. And I think, they needed to be a little bit more sound in what they were doing and letting Henderson understand that, now, look, you can't go be running around all over the place. Yeah, you're going to burn clock. 2 things you can't do. You can't scramble, and you can't take a sack.
And so Legacy's going to use their last timeout. You can't take them with you. 2 seconds to play, so
this will
both
be your
teams headed back to your sideline here. And look, based on what we saw on that double pass or triple pass, if you will, earlier in the game, he threw it 65 yards in the air, so he could get it there.
Yeah, well, you'll see a super prevent defense by St. Charles.
At this point, do you put guys back on the goal line?
Yes. That's what I call super prevent. You're going to have somebody back there so deep that if they do catch the ball, your job is just to pull them down and get them down. Right. So, yes, they'll be in a super prevent look. They'll probably
knock it down, of course.
Right, knock the ball down. If they catch the ball, make a tackle. You're going to see probably St. Charles rush 2, maybe 3 people and drop 8 or 9.
Looks like 2, maybe. Yeah, looks like 2 up there. Let's see. Maybe 1. It was Rob Ryan, but sometimes he wouldn't rush anybody, just like him.
Here's your super prevent.
Yeah, you've got 4 defenders anywhere from the 10 to 20 yard line right now. Here we go. Henderson trying to stay alive. He's brought down. A game-ending sack. That was Shira Hall, the junior linebacker, who comes up with the sack to end it. And St. Charles Catholic wins it 35-31. What a finish. Let's take a look at that last play one more time if we can.
Great finish. They decided to rush 4, 2 in the middle, 2 on the outside. I see why, to try to contain the running of Henderson so he couldn't sprint out there. Who got home? Shira Hall, the backup linebacker, number 10, junior, gets the play of his life tonight against the number 1 Texas-rated quarterback, number 2 in the United States, Kayshawn Henderson.
Well, look, what did this was everything we thought we would see from Henderson tonight, and everything we thought we would see from St. Charles, based on what we know they do so well.
Oh yeah, what a great ball game! What a very well coached ball game, I think, especially by the guys from St. Charles Catholic. I think Coach Bishop and his staff do a great job with their guys over there, playing the brand of football that they do over in Texas, coming over here to a Federation area here in Louisiana twice in a season, and coming over here and operating and leaving Louisiana 1-1.
Well, it was a fun night, Wade. We get to do it again, and the best part is we get to do it again.
Absolutely.
Next week, and Legacy heads back over to Texas, where they're going to finish out their season with 3 games, and finally St. Charles Catholic gets to move in the district. They will play Belle Chase next week. Thanks for joining us this evening. We'll have more high school football for you next week. Check your listings and visit CrescentCitySports.com and our social media channels for the latest schedules. For Wade Kaiser and our Crescent City Sports production team, I'm Lenny Van Gilder saying so long from Laplace, where once again your final score, St. Charles Catholic 35, the Legacy School 31. Good night, everybody.